Kaijus have invaded Ark Survival Ascended, throwing off the balance of nature and completely destroying the Ark's ecosystem. I have been tasked by the Overseer himself to calm the chaos that has been terrorizing this Ark by taming all 10 Kaiju and using them to defeat the Tyrant King Super Godzilla. Then, with peace restored, I will name Kipper the rightful king of the Ark as he should be. Now, this is definitely not going to be easy considering these Kaijus have hundreds of thousands if not millions of health, on top of already having attacks strong enough to snap a Titanosaur in half. But don't worry Kipper, you will be crowned the king of the Ark once again. That is if we don't get stepped on by a Kaiju first. I appeared in the Viking Bay of Ragnarok and I looked all around myself to make sure I wasn't in immediate danger. Yeah, this feels different. I can already tell something's wrong. Okay, I need to make progress as quick as possible before I run into any Kaiju. I'm just gonna have no chance. If I even see one, odds are I'm probably dead. That being said, I had to get the basic tools going straight away, so I unlocked the spear and hatchet engrams. I then challenged a palm tree to a fist fight, and then I picked up a couple of rocks off the ground to make a pickaxe. Using that, I got myself a little more thatch, and I smacked up a rock to get myself some flint to finally make a hatchet and torch, which can actually be a decent weapon early on. But just to be safe, I also made 4 spears in case a Dilo tries to throw hands with me. Now with basic tools and weaponry made, it was time to hunt for hide, but unfortunately I didn't see any ops around that deserved to be sacrificed. Alright Dodo, I'm sorry. You have to be the first kill in the name of progress. It's not you, the Kaiju. Okay, since this is Ragnarok, I think the best play is to run farther down the beach and find the loot boxes that wash up on shore and get some metal tools from them. Is that a Drakeling? That's terrifying. I don't really know how they work. I stayed away for safety's sake, however, paranoia was starting to set in as I also had bigger things to worry about. Literally. I keep looking inland, dude. They can definitely see me from pretty far away since they're so big. That's a scary thought to think about. I haven't planned much in terms of setting up a permanent base location either. The only thing that came to mind would be a cave of some sort, since living anywhere out in the open would be insanely risky. I'm also gonna need a army of dinos to help me get around, farm materials to fight and tame them. There's so much to do and only 100 days to do it. I really didn't have time to mess around. I needed to run down the beach and find those crates so I could get metal tools going as fast as possible. While I was slowly but surely making my way over there, I also couldn't say no to some more free hide, as you'll always need that when you're starting out. Plenty of dodos lined up. Oh, let's pretend I hit that. Definitely gonna need this hide. Are you trying to fight me? Oh, you are trying to fight me. A foolish mistake on the Dodo's end when considering my major league level aim with the spears. We don't talk about my spear throws around here. Anyways, I peeked over an edge and I actually spotted those wash up boxes that I was after. Oh, perfect. This box is right down there. I just needed to get down there without breaking my kneecaps, which I did succeed in doing. Okay, I'm pretty sure I won't be able to get a metal pickaxe, but that's alright. Get a bunch of other good stuff. I got a bow, some more spears, and a metal hatchet straight away, but there was more I was after. Pike, sword, come on, load me up with a crossbow. I was a bit on the heavier end carrying all these tools, most of which I didn't even need, so I started dropping some of them to make space for the more important. Shield? I don't think that'll really be that useful. What am I gonna do, fight off a Kaiju with a shield? A crossbow was really what I was after, but I didn't get it yet, so I continued down the beach until I found more boxes. I then smacked up all of them and I finally got one. Now I can head into the engram page and unlock a few necessities to continue progressing. First objective, let's craft a campfire, some food cooking. Since I threw all of my meat on it to cook, I needed some more to spoil so I can make narcotics in the near future. I'm sorry. Has to be done. You see, I needed to get a flyer tamed as soon as possible so I could get around the map safer, find a permanent base location, and settle down. But of course, part of getting a flyer is making a saddle, which requires either chitin or keratin. What level are you? Unfortunately for Master Oogway over here, his shell is made up of said keratin. Got it. I got a decent amount of keratin, but I also got plenty of hide, so it was time to get dressed. Okay, let's farm up some fiber for cloth armor. It's a little cold. After scrubbing through the bushes for fiber, I made a full set of cloth and I also made some bolas. Bolas probably going to be important too, because dinosaurs still are a threat, like raptors. They don't understand what the good I'm trying to do for their home. Now with my fresh cloth drip equipped, I ventured to the engram page once again to unlock the Parasaur saddle, as the next move would to be of course tame a Perry. Definitely gonna need tranks first though. Good thing I have most of what I need. I unlocked the mortar and pestle engram, however I forgot about one crucial thing. Oh, I don't even have a foundation. I don't have any engram points. I've got to kill something for experience. Devastating news for the random Dilo that I ran up on further down the beach. Bye Dilo. Low experience. Oh! You have a friend. You have a friend that's not happy that I killed you. I returned to my outpost consisting of a single campfire on the early morning of day 2. Scrolling through the engram page, I unlocked the arrow and thatch foundation engrams. However, I was still a few levels short of unlocking the trank arrows. For the time being, I crafted foundation and I smacked up some stone to make the mortar and pestle as well. Boom, narcotics. Definitely need more narco berries. I grabbed some more from the local bushes before downing every single berry and seed left over in my inventory. Alright, let me farm up a few cooking pots real quick just to get to level 21. Okay, so these are the stronger narcotics that I can make that eventually, like I'll need to craft this 2,500 narco berries per, but this is something that will knock out kaijus. I don't need this right now. I just need normal dinosaurs. So I was pretty much ready to go and get a parry. I just wanted to get a few narcotics going. I crafted a parasaur saddle and I got to picking bushes before making the last few narcotics and packing up camp. Okay, new mission. Get a parry. I turned the arrows into tranks and I set out to find the legendary parry. Mission for parry. That also didn't mean I wouldn't take free offerings from the art gods though. You are not a parry. Get out of my way. He just folded backwards immediately. Soon after taking out that sacrifice, I spotted the first potential parry in the woods just up ahead. There's a parry. What level are you? 50? I can do better than that, right? I need a good parry. I need a good parry to fight kaijus. Okay, parry himself won't fight kaijus, but you know, I need a strong one to help me fight the kaijus. Get metal and stuff. While he won't be there to defeat any oversized beasts, parry is a crucial piece to the so-called progress. And speaking of, oh, a bug. I need to kill these. I'm gonna need chitin eventually. I'll probably end up taming a pteranodon. Oh, all the bugs. The pike came in pretty clutch in dropping the flies, and I got myself a decent amount of chitin basically for free. Oh, Therizino. No thanks. I could make hide armor, but I'm actually gonna keep the cloth on right now, because I think if I put on hide, I would be hot. Cloth is keeping me cool. Anyways, I spotted another parasaur, but I first had to deal with a literal army of dilos chasing me. Oh, I tranked it out. I gotta switch arrows. Oh my, I've got the whole nation on me. Sorry, dude. Didn't mean to knock you out before I kill you. With the threat taken care of, I could check that parasaur's level out and see if it was worthy taming. Surely, after taking out that whole gang of dilos that would probably tear it to pieces, it would at least be a good level for me, right? Level 20, that's terrible. So I continued making my way through the jungle towards the blue obelisk, and I did see plenty of pteranodons in the sky, as well as another parry on the other side of the creek. Parry? Please be good. Level 20. These parries are terrible. I ran back up to a higher vantage point, and I checked a couple more pteranodons out on the way. Man, dinos suck. It was pretty weird having a hard time finding a decent level creature, especially here on Ragnarok. Jeez, man. There's another parry. I might just tame this parry, no matter what level it is, unless it's like a 20. I can't be that picky anymore, I guess. A 25? Are you serious? This is not good, dude. I'm lucky I haven't ran into any kaijus yet. Whoa. What was that? Whoa, dude. What is that? Okay, I have to find something to tame soon. Oh, no way. That was unplanned. That was crazy. Finally, a blessing from the art gods above. A level 145 pteranodon literally right in front of my nose. The stats pre-tamed didn't look too bad either. Hey, this was actually a real blessing from the art gods. Guess you really just have to have lows to appreciate the highs. I really didn't want to tame it on raw meat though, so my best bet would be to find a baby dino for prime meat. This one's mate boosted. Do you have a child by chance, sir? Are you a father? I did find a baby trike shortly after inspecting the dodo. However, it was a level 95 and the parents were close by, so killing it would be hard. And yeah, I would probably most likely end up dead as well. Let's go down to Blue Obelisk. Maybe there's some dodos down on the beach. Maybe one of them have a child I can kill. You have a child? No. I ran down to the beach and I did find plenty of dodos, but none of them were parents. Why do none of you guys have children? You guys are failing as a species. Maybe the kaijus weren't even necessary for taking out the Ark's ecosystems. I mean, these dinos don't even have descendants to carry on their legacy. I might have to tame it on raw meat. Also, I'm gonna need a lot more levels for PT saddle and 10 more chitin or keratin. Craft the saddle. I ran back up into the jungle and I actually found a baby Phiomia. I traumatized the poor pig, then turned both of their corpses into pteranodon snacks. After running back to feed the PT, I came up with a simple plan to level up quickly so I can unlock the saddle for it as well. Alright, I have an idea to level up pretty quickly instead of just crafting cooking pots like I normally do. I'll go and tame one of the low level parasaurs for parry, and then I'll just farm narcotics. That'll just be a better use of my time. I'll get more out of that. That being said, I started swinging my bolas and I threw them at the first parasaur I saw on day 3. You're coming with me. Yeah, this is rough. This might be the worst parry that I've ever tamed. It will still be my parry. She will still be my parry, I should say. I waited around for Perry to wake up so I can name and saddle her. Alright, Perry. Getting straight to work in all the narco berries. When I returned to the PT, it was already awake and tamed, so I had a quick look at its stats. Let's actually set up a little shack here, just while I farm narcotics to level up and other stuff. There was a pesky seagull circling in my airspace, so I had to take care of it first as it was bound to try and mess with me at some point. Oh, I didn't kill it in one shot? You did not just eat 100 spoiled meat. I needed that. Of course it was a 150. Really? Back to farming up the thatch base. I dropped a few trees, then crafted all the foundations, walls, and ceilings to construct a basic shack. Let's get to constructing this space. I placed most of the walls down as windows, and I filled them in so I could open up them and have some natural light coming. Okay, I know this is my little, thatch startup. Still want some natural light in here though. Next up, I would place my mortar and pestle and the campfire, which I also lit with raw meat cooking. I'd like to make another mortar and pestle just to make this quicker. I split whatever spoiled meat and narco berries I had between the mortar and pestles, then hopped back on Perry to do some more lawn mowing. Do some real narco berry farming now. Oh, there's metal right here. Crazy find. This could so set me up. I was getting plenty of XP just from mowing the lawn, let alone turning everything into narcotics, which I should be needing either way. I feel like a griffin is definitely going to be probably the best tame for this because I'll be able to trank out kaijus from safely in the air, except for the kaijus that fly. Not sure what I'm going to do about that. A little worried, I'm not going to lie. Flying kaijus are a future problem of a very distant future me though. Right now, I just had to get enough XP to unlock the Pteranodon saddle. After farming up all those narco berries, spoiled meat became the shortage in the recipe now, so I had to go out and kill some stuff. I think there should be a bunch of little critters down this way that I can take out. I also came across this Lystra with a cool cyan stripe on its back. Only after killing it did I realize I created 2 orphans. Oh, I can't. I'll claim one of these. I'll raise you, little guy, but for you, you're dying. I don't care. I need spoiled meat. You're going to give me a lot of prime. After killing it, I got exactly 3 pieces of prime meat, so in hindsight, its death was in vain. I just feel bad now. Cody. I looked into the engram page to see if I could make cryos, but those were only unlocked at level 51. I'm just gonna wait till this thing grows up. I'm gonna have to pick it up. So I grabbed a few mayo berries and fed the little guy, and I waited for him to fully grow up. I'll get 100% imprint in Cody. Don't mind if I do. Come on, dude, get that imprint. Got work for it. Let's go move them little legs. Oh yeah, backflip. Soon enough, he grew up to be an adult, and I quickly realized that I couldn't pick him up like a dodo. Cody, you are not following me all the way back to base. Whatever, dude. Fine, I'll take you. Better keep up, though. Come on, Cody. Dude's the definition of wait for me, I've got little legs. Where are you going? Was that really necessary to go all the way around? Oh, and all that just to get stuck. Okay, dude. Even in ASA, you sometimes need to help the less developed life forms out since pathfinding is a hard skill to master for their AI. Anywho, I smacked up a few bushes on the way back while waiting for the little Cody to work his tiny legs. Back at the crib, I got more narcotics going, and I continued farming berries until I remembered another thing that I needed to craft. I need to craft this. Ultimate trank station. I could get some crazy strong tranks, and I could go tame something super strong right away. I smacked up enough stone to craft the trank station, and I slapped it down next to my mortar and pestles. How's this work? Okay, so these are just stronger, and then I'm assuming, yeah, there's just arrows. There are even trank pikes, but I would likely never use those as getting into melee distance with a kaiju is never a good idea. Also, I was just 1 level off from getting the PT saddle unlocked. So I unlocked the refining forge and I farmed one up as I would very soon be needing metal. After placing the forge down, I ran up to that 1 metal node that I found earlier and I grabbed just a bit of it to smelt up for a smithy. While that smelting will unlock some essential engrams. Barrel of sacred nectar. If I didn't know any better, I think that's kaiju food. Black Hawk helicopter. That would be super useful to use on kaiju. Whoa, what's going on? I'm hearing explosions everywhere. Wait a minute. This isn't the Ark anymore, this is War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and it's now available for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. There are over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from the most 10 powerful nations, and they range all the way from the 1920s all the way up to the fighter jets and battle tanks of today. What do you say, Perry? I think you'd look pretty good in a fighter jet, don't you think? Okay, not really sure what that means. Anyway, you can truly immerse into the combat in War Thunder with all the incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects. Basically, you're not going to feel like you're in the tanks, planes, and ships. You're going to feel like you are the tanks, planes, and ships. Isn't that right, Perry? Alright, I'm just gonna stop asking for your opinion, Perry. Lastly, if you haven't joined War Thunder already, you're really missing out. There's a community of over 95 million players already battling. There are so many vehicles to explore and take out your enemies with, you can't not join. Even Perry is training to become a fighter pilot. So join the fight today using my link in the description or pinned comment to download War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or even mobile. And using my link that I've so kindly brought to you all, you'll receive a massive bonus pack featuring the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver, and 7 days of premium account. This is for a limited time only, so make sure to click my link immediately. Perry doesn't take too kindly to those who don't follow directions.
I don't know what I am, please let me out.
You know, since this video is sponsored by War Thunder, maybe they'll just let me borrow this Black Hawk helicopter to fight Super Godzilla. That sure would be nice. Anyways, I unlocked the stone structures as well before grabbing the metal ingots and crafting up the first smithy. I also crafted a metal pickaxe to replace its primitive counterpart just before the end of day 3. On day 4, I hopped back on Perry and I headed back to mine up the rest of that metal. After bringing it back to base and throwing it on the forge, I looked into the ultimate train station again to see which narcotics that I could make. Probably go straight for these 25 times stronger narcotics. Not crazy hard to farm. I think setting up a base in a strong, defensible location in a cave, I think that's my top priority right now. I'm still yet to run into any kaijus, but I swear once I take flight and get an aerial view of the map, that's when I'm gonna see them. So I finished another fat lawn mowing session and I brought back a ton of narco berries so I could make the 25 times more effective narcotics. Oh yeah, I can craft a lot of these. The stronger arrows could also only be crafted in the train station. Oh, I gotta craft them in here? That's weird. Anywho, I unlocked the Pteranodon saddle and made the strong trank arrows and I renamed the PT. Okay, I think the next move is, let's go get the remain. Oh, I have keratin already. I can make a saddle. Awesome. With Flappy saddled straight away, I hopped on and I flew down the beach for a quick drink. As I said, I'm really excited to take flight, but I'm also really scared. No idea what I'm gonna find or see. It's alright though. We gotta brave the kaijus earlier on, so we can tame them, take them down, and reestablish Kipper as the king of the Ark. That's if I don't go permanently blind from staring into the artificial sun. Man, that glare is crazy. I was out for crystal though, so I flew up to the hills where I knew I could find some. Perfect. Crystal right here. I borrowed a little bit of wood from a tree and made the awesome spyglass before going to check on the Argies that I saw. Well, 135 Archie right here? That could be really good. There was a yellow drop just ahead of me, so I flew over to check that out as well. Oh, level 45, level 42. What do you even have in it? I could have actually used that stone stuff. That's annoying. Anyway, I took off to go explore the area a little bit, but I quickly had a change in plans. Oh my god. What is that? What is that? I was just gonna say, let's go explore. What is that though? It's flying. Mothra. Okay. Well, back this way. Back this way. So that concludes the exploring side of things, so I flew back to base. I then unlocked the hide armor and crafted a set. The plan was to actually tame that level 135 RG that I saw and try my best to find a permanent cave base spot. Since there's flying kaijus in the area, I no longer feel safe here, like, at all. Let's get rid of this cloth. A little more protected. I mean, won't do anything if a kaiju gets to me, but I don't think any amount of armor will. While farming up the RG trap, I completed one of the Lost Colony milestones, so I had to look into the menu. Oh, if I do this, I could use these points to get some good health regeneration. I might do these aren't too hard. I crafted the 12 tranks I needed for one of the milestones before checking the page again. Wait, hold up. No, there's no point in doing that, because I've got to complete these sections, not across. Craft 100 arrows or craft 25 thatch structures. Okay, I'm definitely doing this middle Stone Age one, but I first had to get the RG trap crafted. Once that was done, I stored it in the smithy, and I actually got to completing the milestone, starting off with that 100 arrows. To make the 25 thatch structures, I looked into the engrams to find the cheapest one, and I got to farming. Probably a window. Did it, dude. Completed this. I think I've got 3 skill points. I looked into the skill tree and I read some other buffs before ultimately deciding on going with the experience killer upgrade. It provides a 10% experience boost to your mount while killing things. So in total, my dinos will get 30% more experience by killing stuff, which is a really good buff. What's my next one? Oh, this will be easy. I won't do that right now though. I had some work to get back to, being taming that RG. So I grabbed the trap and hopped on Flappy, and I flew back up to find a good spot to set up. With the trap constructed, I went over to introduce myself and lead the RG in on the first try. Got it. There was a second RG roaming the area, so I put my new XP buff to use and I engaged in a classic dogfight. Since Pteranodons are the superior aircraft, I had no problem in taking the bogey down. Oh, a treasure map? I wonder if it's good. The map was only apprentice, so not ideal. On the bright side, I got a bunch of prime meat as well, so I flew back to knock out the RG. Let's test out these tranks. Supposed to be 25 times strong as a normal trank. I hope it doesn't do that much more damage. Just one shot to the head. Oh yeah, I guess it is super effective. Oh geez, that was really quick. You see, these are gonna be crazy good on normal dinos, but once I get to taming kaijus, like, I'm gonna need the strongest versions of these tranks, and I'm gonna need multiples of them. While the RG was taming on day 5, I flew back down to hydrate myself. One problem I'd have to face was the fact that the RG saddle engram is only unlocked at level 62, and currently I'm level 44. Anyways, when the RG tamed though, I picked up the trap and I named her bird before whistling her back to base. Bro, land. There was a white drop pretty close by, so I decided to go and check it out with Flappy. That's terrible. Also, a quick side note about this Kaiju mod. Unfortunately, I can't release it due to copyright issues, and I'm also praying the copyright gods don't strike this video down themselves. Anyways, I fired up the campfire at base again to get more cooked meat going, and I devised a quick plan of action to level up. Okay, I think for levels next, I'm gonna go out and try and find an alpha raptor. I've got something I could trap it in. I need to level up a lot to get an RG saddle, and also we might as well do some exploring, scout the area, maybe find a potential base spot in a cave. I don't know, we'll see. Flying over the Viking Bay, I didn't see any kaijus anywhere, which was a good sign. I flew inland as well, where I was reunited with my good old friends, the beavers. Oh, taxpayers. Got any dams I can loot? Doesn't look like it. You guys need to get to work. Pay them taxes. Okay, really surprised I'm not seeing any kaijus. I made my way over to the triple waterfall, and I headed inside to look around to see if it could serve as a base spot. But that's when the kaijus made themselves known again. Oh, what am I hearing? What am I hearing? Oh my, what is happening? What is outside? Do I even want to go out here? I decided to go for it, and I looked up above the waterfall to see one of the most terrifying kaijus just straight up annihilating something. It's Ghidorah. 750? Oh no! At first, you might have thought that it was over for me here, but this giant 3-headed dragon actually has the attention span of a goldfish. It, for some reason, decided to instead attack something on the ground just below me. Go, go, go. Oh no, don't turn around. Flappy, you have to gain stamina. You have to gain stamina. We have to go.
No, I don't think I will.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea what happened there. I thought I was wrapped up for sure. So I flew into the small cave full of metal that I discovered the last time that I played Ragnarok. Okay, so always right there. That's terrible. Why is he just sitting there menacingly? I started heading back home as I didn't want to be anywhere near that thing. I still didn't know though where I could settle either, since nothing seemed to be safe anymore. Oh, right there, dude. Right there. What is this? A mega? I don't even know how to say that name. Oh, there's a Famuto. Why are they all just appearing out of thin air? Looks like the few days of peace were over, and I would now really have to pick up the pace. So I returned back to my little shack just as the sun went down. On day 6, I repaired my tools and I looked into the engram page again. Since cryopods were unlocked at level 51, I didn't need to go for an RG saddle just yet, as I could relocate using them. At first, I wanted to start grinding out cooking pots, but after a brief look into my mortar and pestles, I decided that farming narcotics would be the move after all. So I started off by splitting all the raw meat in my inventory to spoil and flying down to the beach to get more. Oh, get away from me, thieves. With a pretty good amount of meat spoiling in my inventory, I headed back to base and waited for it all to spoil before hopping on Perry. Hey Perry, it's time for some crazy lawn mowing hours. Okay, that should be enough narcotics for sure to give me to 51. A few minutes of just standing around later, I got up to set level 51 and unlocked the empty cryo chamber, which is just a cryopod basically. Kind of expensive. Where am I going to be able to get oil and poly? I don't know. I need this stuff though, unless I can keep farming level 62 so I can get the RG saddle. Whatever, we'll keep pumping up the 62. I think that's the move. Yeah, one thing I failed to consider was the fact that I was still poor and there's no way for me to actually craft the cryopods. So the only option that's left is to just man up and craft that RG saddle. So I got right back to getting raw meat by packing up a mod shops and making new bolas and then assaulting a couple of low level parries. Now with my inventory full of meat, I started heading back, and that's when I remembered that I live pretty close to a cave that could potentially work as a future base spot. You know, there's a cave back in here. Could this be viable? I don't know, this could be a base spot, but I don't like the gaping hole in the roof. It's also very foggy in here. For now, I just returned home and I was greeted by an uninvited guest fighting Bird up in the sky. Whoa! What's going on here? It was another level 135 RG, so I helped out Bird with taking it down. What is up with that? How did an RG stray all the way over here and attack mine? You good, Bird? After checking on Bird, I got back to lawn mowing with Perry and cooking up more narcotics. The grind continued into the foggy morning of day 7. Slowly but surely getting there. Bang! Oh, my bad, dude. When I returned back to the crib, I was at level 59, so I just have to wait for the crafting to finish and get me to level 62. In the meantime, I had a closer look through the engram page, unlocking engrams that will come in handy later on. What is making that awful noise? I guess it's just jungle noises. I don't know. Anyways, I then crafted a full set of black armor. It's not really gonna have any effect at all against a kaiju, but it was pretty good at keeping me safe from dinosaurs at least. So I then also unlocked and crafted a sickle to make getting fiber a breeze. Awesome. Level 62. Finally, I could unlock the RG saddle, and I already had all the resources to make one as well, except the chitin. Probably fly around, find some buggy boys. Let's go do that. Hopefully avoid any kaijus. Shortly after taking off, I got distracted by a yellow drop, but the loot inside really wasn't worth much. Guess I'll take the Lazarus chowder. What is this? Don't need that. Just really not wanting to fly too far into the mountains, because that's where I've been seeing all the kaiju. The beaches seem to be safe for now, so I tried to stay at least somewhat close to them. Okay, there's scorpion. Oh, and it's getting attacked. Man, the whole gang of vultures bodying everything. There goes that Carno. I didn't even have time to swoop in and steal the corpse. Oh, they're after me now. Nice. Oh, you know what? Let me go over to the castle over here. There's probably a few Araneos, so I can kill those for some easy chitin. I just had to watch out for the kaijus that roam the area. Oh, there's another one. That's a different one. Anyway, I flew up to the castle, and as expected, it was highly infested with cave creatures. That also included bats, which was not optimal, so I had to separate them from spiders somehow. Okay, I got their attention. Kinda didn't even mean to, but you know what? It works. I really didn't want to fight them though, as there were high levels among them. However, when I lost the aggro, they kind of just turned back around. No way you guys just go back. So I flew back to get them again, and that's when I spotted an Araneo below me that I could easily take out. A little excessive, don't you think? I got a good amount of chitin from that, but I still needed a couple more at least to make the saddle. Are there any other stragglers at the bottom of this hill? Oh, I got their attention. Oh, that kaiju's coming nice and close. I also had the entire bloodline of bats on me, so I distanced myself. Wonder if I can't sneak down. Void detection from the kaiju. Just need some spiders, dude. Oh, found them. I waited for them to drop from the wall, but their levels were getting pretty crazy, and soon the whole squadron was on me again. Oh! Just need a little bit of chitin, dude. What's a dude gotta do for that? So many of them. There were far too many spiders now piled up on one another, so I decided to just dip and look for other bugs. I started flying around on the other side of the mountains, where I then spotted a blue drop with a ring coming down, so I stuck around for that to land. Nothing too crazy, not gonna lie. I don't even really want these tranks. I got better ones, but whatever. I could, however, check on my beaver friends and see that they've finally gone back to work, bringing those results to the table. Here are some friendly taxpayers, doing good, paying their taxes, supporting their community, like all beavers should. And they give me no problem at all. As they're all coming for me. On day 8, I started heading back towards the Viking Bay, and I did see a yellow drop with a ring coming down, but it was kind of compromised to say the least. Whoa! And that is a 145 leatherback. on the drop that I want. To see if this drop was even worth anything, I flew up to it with the awesome spyglass, but I couldn't see the contents for some reason. Can I even see until it lands? That is terrifying. It makes the scariest noises. I parked a safe distance away from that thing and I waited for the drop to land. Oh, is it coming this way? The drop doesn't have anything crazy good. Back to looking for chitin though. I was sort of hoping I could find some in a drop, and that's why I flew over to another white one with a ring. Not really anything. I wonder if I just walk around in the forest if I just can't find some buggy boys. The fog definitely didn't help, but I actually found a group of Meganoras pretty soon. Yep, perfect. I put an end to their miserable existence and then harvested them all up. And I'm 7 short. Bruh. So back to flying near the ground, hoping to run into another group of them. This time though, I wasn't as lucky, and instead of a few harmless bugs, I got assaulted by an oversized chicken. Oh! More bugs.
You scared coward!
Oh, there he's coming. C-spin for the chitin, and I'm out. I finally crafted the RG saddle after an incredible chitin side quest. So I headed back to base to hook Bird up and prepare to pack up. Now that I have this RG saddle, I can go and find a cave to set up in. I don't want to be out in the open anymore. The problem is, where? What cave? I had a general idea of all the caves around Ragnarok, so a little bit of staring into the map later, one specific cave popped up in mind, and I had to go check it out. Okay, I believe I know where I want to build. Before I transfer everything, take the RG. Let's go scout it out, just to be safe. I dropped off the resources I didn't need and headed out on a surveillance mission with Flappy. Whoa, holy Mothra. That's concerning, very concerning.
Hello.
Oh my... Are you serious? Yeah, so the cave I was talking about is this cave that's out near the green obelisk that has 2 entrances. The concerning bit was the fact there was a literal skull crawler right above it, so I had to get back to considering my other options. There's the Highlands cave. That's across the map though. That's dangerous. Screw it, dude. I gotta find something. Can't have a skull crawler literally on top of my base. Shortly after exiting this cave, I spotted a griffin. This one being a level 85 though, so not the best. But right after that one, I scoped out a level 140 with 30 points into stamina pre-tame. That's really good if you don't know how points work. Man, I have to tame that. A 140 griffin with promising stats was an absolute gift, but I did have to get settled with my base first as I was pretty much homeless right now. So I continued making my way towards the highlands, avoiding the murder snow completely. Purple dropped the ring all the way out there, and so stop by. Oh, -1 Godzilla. Are we serious? Oh, what is it doing? Is it about to annihilate that pyromane? Oh, that's crazy. I made my way over to the purple drop, but there was a pyromane sitting on it as well as a mantis that somehow spotted me all the way up on the pillar. Is that thing really aggroed to me? I didn't want to just stand around and wait though, so I swooped in real quick, grabbed everything from the drop, and disappeared before anything could get to me. Continuing my flight towards the highlands, I was stopped yet again, this time by a red drop, and I got hooked up with some gasoline, polymer, silica pearls, and bullets, all of which will definitely come in handy at some point in the future. There's a unicorn right there. Tame that if I had a cryopod. Let's keep looking for this highlands cave. I really feel like that could be the best move. I remember it being pretty secure and safe. I just don't totally remember where it's at. Oh, that's not secure and safe at all. I landed to refill Flappy's stamina, and when I took back off, I noticed that I was literally right next to the cave entrance, so I flew inside to check it out. It's right here. This is perfect. This is what I need. And there's plenty of resources here. It's cold. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Very cold here. Got water in here. It ticked all the boxes in terms of being defensible and kaijus not fitting in it. The only real issue was the distance it was away from my current shack. Maybe we'll go back to base. I've got these strong tranks. We'll farm up to tame a griffin, and that will make flying back and forth way easier. I think that's the plan. That being said, I headed back to base, only stopping to gain stamina and check on potential drops. Nice, the drop's in the ground. Is that a red drop? Why does it look like that? It was a bit too bright though to be a red drop, but at the same time, I didn't know what else it could be. Curiosity got the best of me though, so I flew closer to investigate it. Oh, well, whatever it is, not going near it. Yep, that's all you. It's all you, Mothra. Not interested. When I arrived back at the crib, I stored the loot from the drops away into the smithy, and I unlocked a preserving bin engram to keep my soups and bug repellent from spoiling. I grabbed all the narcoberries that I had left and threw them into the trunk station. I then made 3 25x narcotics to keep that griffin asleep. If you didn't know, griffins drain torpor really quickly, so keeping narcotics on hand is a must. Alright, time to farm up a lot of stone structures. Okay, I completely made the trap. Now, honestly, I think I have everything to tame the griffin already. I know when I was originally doing my vanilla Ragnarok 100 days, it took a lot more preparation, but it's really because since I have such strong narcotics and tranks, it's not going to take that much. On that note, I headed back on Flappy and I headed back out towards the green obelisk to see if I could secure that level 140 griffin. Oh! I hit the wrong key. That could have been very bad. Don't ask me how I survived that fall. The only thing that is important though is that I did, so I could continue my quest for that griffin. What was Alpha Raptor? Oh, I'm gonna write this down on my map. I'm gonna come back and kill that with this griffin. As I was flying over to the other side of the mountain on day 10, I got jump scared by another skull crawler coming out of the ground. Oh, skull crawler's down here now. I flew through the cave over to the other side and I found that exact 140 griffin again. Okay, I need to find a safe ledge to construct the trap on. The hill just opposite of me looked promising, but unfortunately it was part of the murder snow, so not viable at all. This bridge connecting the two mountains on the other hand though looked to be the perfect spot. Surely this is safe. This looks pretty safe. Alright, let's get this thing trapped. The 30 points in the stamina is wicked. It also has 30 points in the food, 22 in the oxygen. It did only have 17 points into health and melee, which normally would be an issue. But considering that the fact that there are kaijus around that would obliterate any dino just by looking at them, health didn't really matter at all, to be honest. Anyway, I made the griffin follow me into the trap, but I couldn't actually lock the gates behind it. Oh no! I totally made the same mistake last time, didn't I? What do? So I kinda just sat there and watched as the griffin flew out of the trap and as far away from me as possible, and beyond. Where you going? Alright, dude, do your thing, I guess. I had to make up a small expansion of the trap, so I got right to it, dropping trees and smacking up rocks to craft walls. Dude, don't beef with the local RGs. After upgrading the trap, I flew down to get the griffin's attention again. Oh, dude, what are we doing? That's the cowardly griffin, dude, running away. Eventually, its AI kicked back into gear and it aggroed to me again, so I let it up into the trap and actually placed the gate down. Gotcha. Okay, let's see how these trank arrows do knocking it out. It only took 7 tranks to send the griffin to sleep, so worrying about it getting killed in the process was not a thing. And it's out, just like that. Now, this is a pretty dangerous area, so I'm gonna pick up all these and turn them back into just normal walls. The last thing I wanted to see was a wild saber-tooth that somehow aggroed to the griffin, running across the map just to bite it and ruin the taming effectiveness. For some reason, I couldn't place down the last wall since there was no snap point there somehow, so I resorted to getting the spike walls instead. Oh, I didn't even bring any other narcotics besides this. I hope this is strong. Anyway, I crafted up a couple of spikes and then placed them down. We're gonna have to ignore the fact that the whole second half of the griffin is sticking out and can probably get hit through it. Let's go get it prime meat somehow. There were plenty of RGs in the area, otherwise known as prime meat providers. However, they were all pretty high level, unlike this Rex over here though. Level 20 Rex? Surely we can kill this. Come on, Flappy. Get you some XP while we're at it too. I watched as the Rex started throwing hands with a pack of raptors, and that's when a baby emerged from the bushes. Oh, baby raptor! While the parents were distracted, I took it out and got all the prime meat in the world. So I flew back up to the griffin to feed it. I guess I'll just go scout the area in the meantime. Maybe look for another. I definitely want to tame a high-level male griffin so I can get a breeding pair, get an imprinted one. That'll be super strong. The little scouting idea sounded pretty good in my head up until I ran into another enormous flying kaiju down in the ravine. Oh! What is that? Rodon. Am I cooked? Not sure what it was doing, but I dipped out a render distance as quickly as I could. Alright, note to self, stay away from the canyons. That's where I saw the Ghidorah and the Rodon now. I landed by my griffin and stuck around for a little while before Rodon reappeared on my screen like an absolute menace. Oh, it flew over here. Is that gonna kill my griffin? It doesn't look like it's aggroing to much. Well, I'm glad I put it in that box, but what's that gonna do against the whole Rodon? My griffin was just about to tame, so I didn't want to go too far away. So I just stayed up in the sky, hovering and observing the giant thing until it pieced out into the murder snow. Yeah, go in the snow. Go in the snow. You'll love it there. Plenty of mammoths to eat. No one actually listened. I flew back down to wait on the griffin to wake up, and once it did, I checked its stats out again. 33 points in health, 40 in stamina, 30 in melee. Yeah, all around, it's not bad. Not a bad griffin at all. I picked up the trap and named the griffin fighter jet as well as its stats. Now I just had to escort Flappy back to base. Also, I had an explore note buff on my character from something. Not really sure how I got that since there's no explore notes on Ragnarok. Oh my. Those things are terrifying. Anywho, I made it over to where I had the alpha marked on my map. I then left Flappy up on the safety of the hill, and I got to dive bombing the raptor.
Got it. Pretty good pickaxe. 20 levels, that's what I needed.
I also got 10 for my character, so overall pretty worth it. When I returned back to base, I sorted out my inventory. I then grabbed a few metal ingots to craft cryopods with, as that was the next task on the agenda.
So I gotta go get crystal, oil, and poly. I've got some right here, but I'd rather just go get organic poly out on the other side of the map. That's why I got the griffin first. And then oil, not too sure where I'm gonna get that yet. I'm not gonna lie. We'll figure it out though.
That being said, I hopped on the back of fighter jet and I headed out to the little crab cave on the other side of the map. There, I can farm bushes for loads of polymer with the sickle.
Oh, crabs. Here for the polymer. That's it. You can live as long as you just leave me alone. Perfect. Any more than what I need.
Now I just had to figure out where I could get the oil. The crystal I could find pretty much anywhere.
Dead bassies in the highlands?
As I was flying through the scorching desert, I quickly became dehydrated, so I had to stop by a pond for a sip. But after drinking up, I was right back to making my way over to the highlands.
Ooh, dead bassie.
I knew these washed up whales gave a lot of resources, but I kind of forgot that you barely get any oil, no matter which tool you use.
Very little amount of oil, but it is oil. My American ancestors would be very disappointed in me.
I only needed 4 oil per cryopod, so maybe finding 1 or 2 more whales would suffice for now.
I want to make these special cryopods because I'm pretty sure there's a gun that you can like shoot your tames with and it'll automatically put them into a cryopod. Pretty useful little thing.
After digging up that corpse, I flew around looking for the 3rd one, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I decided to just leave with what I got and go get crystal instead. And finding that was pretty simple as I assumed. There were even some in the Highlands cave.
Future home has crystal. Nice.
The cool thing about these cryopods is that you can craft them in your inventory, and that's exactly what I did as day 12 rolled around.
And I also want this cryo gun. Just need 1 thatch. That's not bad. I think these work exactly the same. It's just a normal cryopod.
I tested it out on fighter jet and they did work the exact same, except there was no cryo sickness. Now that I had these made up, I was pretty much ready to pack up my shack and move over into this cave. So the journey back to base on the back of the Griffin was a pretty swift one. That would be in stark contrast to the journey that I'm gonna have to take back over here on the back of Bird.
Nah, I'm definitely gonna need to fly over on my orgy.
I crowed up Harry and Flappy before getting chills sent down my spine from noises I couldn't even describe.
What? What am I hearing? Oh my! There's a Fomuto right there. We have to be quick.
I rushed to pick up my tames and load up all of my resources onto the RG. I then picked up all of my structures as well, except the shack itself, as I didn't really feel like risking everything over a few pieces of thatch.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting out of here. Muto way too close.
Since Bird wasn't really leveled yet, she struggled to carry out all of my belongings. So I dropped a few heavy things, but they were just pretty easily farmed resources.
Flattening the forest. I need to kill something to gain some experience for weight on this thing. This thing has terrible weight right now. Good thing I'm moving out of here just in time.
There were plenty of RGs I could take on in the area, so I flew over to harass them for some quick XP. It indeed was a slow and painful journey, but I got to the highlands before sunset and I checked out one of the new kaijus on the way.
Mega Hexonyx. That's okay, that's how you pronounce it. Mega Hexonyx, Mega Hexonyx. Probably gonna call it a Mega Hexonyx. I don't know.
Either way, it seemed to be a pretty common kaiju and one of the weaker ones. Perhaps it could even be one of my first tames from the kaiju since it didn't have a crazy amount of torpor either.
Okay, only took pretty much the whole day, but made it to the cave. A little foggy in here, but it'll keep me safe, it's for sure. A little cold too.
Now to actually set up my home. I didn't want to go for no basic design either. I wanted to get creative with it and build something that actually looked good.
I've got a cool idea already. First things first, making a bed before I go on to regret not having one.
I just needed to get some thatch and wood, so I went back outside to get that from a nearby tree.
Not gonna get killed by a kaiju and not have a bed at my base.
As you could probably tell, living on 5 stone foundations was not really optimal, so it was time to get to work on a small expansion.
I'm not going to tell you what my base idea is quite yet, but you'll see, and I hope you think it'll be cool. You know what? I think I already messed up. Yeah, I already want to change this. I'm still not telling you though.
Since I had a lot of stuff on Bird and I needed to use her while farming, I made a temporary storage box to store a bunch of stuff away. Now I could actually get to farming, except the highlands were not exactly the best area to do so since resources were quite scarce and spread apart. Hold up. Oh, I have the upgrade station mod installed. Let me go upgrade my tools, my hatchet at least. Already got a good pickaxe. This will make farming a lot quicker. I flew back inside, smacked up a metal node, and then crafted the upgrade station. With the metal ingots I had, I was able to get the hatchet upgraded to journeyman, so I headed back out to continue farming. Definitely not constructing the whole base right now, but I really want to get the foundation layout at least. You guys will probably maybe be able to get the vision from there. It's pretty similar to a base design I've done before. True fans will know what video it's from. Comment it down below. Once I'm done building it, I actually want you guys to go down into the comments and guess which video I'm referencing. That being said, I first picked up all the foundations that I had already placed down and got to constructing it. I was a few triangle foundations off from finishing the whole hexagon, so I placed my bed back down before farming those up and placing them down. This is gonna be a cool base, I already know it. I'm cooking. Y'all don't even know what I'm cooking right now. Cooking up in the lab, dude. On that note, I headed back out to continue farming because I was still far from done. Oh! I mean, honestly, that's a good PT, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of useless now that I have a griffin. Anywho, I flew back inside to start building a few expansions to the foundation layout. However, I was obstructed by resources and the boxes that I placed. Make some walls so I can start placing structures at least. I mean, I don't know how much windows are really gonna do for natural light in a cave. I mean, I guess I got crystal light. One flaw I discovered with my design was the fact that the dino gate I plan on placing up front wouldn't be evenly in the middle. Unless, that is, I use quarter walls. Shoot! Wait, is a quarter wall a thing? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, hold up. I crafted one up and placed it down to see how it would work with snapping the gate. Did I not get it snapped to the quarter wall? Snapped or not, I could make it work. So I headed back out to get some wood for more quarter walls. This is gonna annoy me, I already know it. Actually, I got it down near perfectly on the third try, so I didn't want to tinker around with it anymore. Boom, problem solved though. I then placed in a bunch of windows as well, so I could start bringing structures in. After placing the forge, I mined up the metal node obstructing the foundation placement. I then threw the metal in and placed the rest of my structures down. Okay, so I want to keep working on my base because I'm actually really excited for this base. I think it's going to look super cool, but I can't be bothered to keep farming by hand, man. It's time to go tame a Dodic. I only had 3 of the strong narcotics left, so I turned them into tranks, putting my total amount of arrows up to 6. Looks like we've got some farming to do, or lawn mowing I should say, Perry. I wasn't too sure about farming out in the highlands, so for now I stuck the lawn mowing inside the cave. Surprisingly, I actually got a ton of narco berries from all the small bushes scattered throughout the place. I grabbed the spoiled meat from the preserving bin and threw that into the trank station. I then made the 50x narcotics this time. These are gonna be so strong. I remembered to pick up a stack of Mayho berries from one of the bags I dropped as well, since I would need those to actually tame the Dodic. Now, with my 50x trank arrows crafted, I hopped on fighter jet and headed out to find me a high level candidate. Now, you guys might be asking yourself, Grant, why are you spending so much time and effort and resources on building such a big, elaborate base when there are literal kaijus out and about that you gotta tame, like this guy right here? Well, that's because there's 3 tiers of kaiju, and to tame tier 1, or the weakest tier, I need kaiju meat. You get kaiju meat from killing kaiju, so I can't tame any kaijus until I kill a kaiju. I have no means of doing that right now. So my plan is to farm up a big base with chemistry bench, fabricator, everything, and then get a pump shotgun, and with the upgrade station, upgrade it over and over until it's putting out hundreds of damage. I'll then use that, find one of the weaker kaijus, take them out with the shotgun, and then hopefully with that meat, I'll be able to tame myself a strong tier 1 kaiju. It was all part of a plan almost as elaborate as the base I was working on constructing. And to really kick things into gear, I had to get a Dodic, since farming all that stone by hand would have taken ages. You know, it probably would have been a good idea to bring my RG so I could relocate a Dodic to a safer location if I do find, or when I do find one. Anyways, I looked around the general area for a minute before concluding that I would have a much higher chance of finding a good Dodic over in the desert, so I started heading over there. I braced myself to fly across the canyon, as I have encountered multiple kaijus in or around it before, and I was pretty spot on with being careful, as I ran into not 1, not 2, but 3 Famutos right next to one another. What? A 130? Holy dude, Famuto Canyon down here. I'm gonna keep this 130 in mind though. That could be my first kaiju tame after I take down a weaker kaiju, of course. Continuing my journey into the desert, I had to take a slight detour as I spotted a red drop over on one of the snowy mountains.
Good leggings.
After crossing the murder stone, my destination was in sight, and I also spotted a low-level Mega Hexonyx.
Like a Mega Hexonyx? I'm definitely not saying that right. Let me know how to say that in the comments.
Mega Hexonyx.
I can kill a level 21 of those with a shotgun, for sure.
Anywho, I arrived in the desert, and the first Dodic I found was a level 55, surrounded by all sorts of critters. However, the next one I found was a level 140, also in the midst of a battle, so I had to help out.
Oh, he's beefing. Oh, they're pulling up on his face. Oh! I got Perlovia. That's the last thing I expected to happen there, I won't lie.
My Griffin was not the strongest in terms of melee, so fighting all these pests was a bit of a challenge.
No, they got it in a ball. Are they still killing it even though it's in a ball? No way. No, quit. You just ate your kid. All that for some HP back, just to make your miserable existence last a little bit longer.
I slowly smacked all the carnivores with fighter jet, and once the coast was clear, I would check on the Dodic.
My boys.
The 140 was pretty beat up, so he would stay balled up for a while. I only flew down to drink up as I was dehydrated, and when I returned the Dodics, they were once again under attack by a couple of scorpions.
No! Biting the Dodics again! I was just straight up bullying them.
Why you bullying me?
The 140 didn't get harmed, thankfully, and was actually pretty close to coming out of his shell. So for the time being, I farmed up a few spike walls, and I forced a bunch of raw meat down Fighter Jet's throat to heal.
No mercy. Not even for the children. Not sparing any of you.
About a minute later, the Dodic finally decided to poke its head and tail back out. So I shot one of the 50x tranks into it, which filled its torpor a bit more than halfway up. So I then loaded the weaker 25x arrows up and shot 2 of those to make it fully fall asleep.
Oh, I gotta put a defense around you because everything under the sun wants to eat you, dude. Yes, Dodics are tasty. Wait, isn't there a tame helper in this mod? Only stimberries?
I needed to craft that in the trank station though, and I was not about to fly all the way back to base. So I pulled out my hatchet, smacked up a rock, and crafted yet another station, and then a foundation as well. I then grabbed some stimberries from a bush and set up the station and crafted one of the tame helpers to see how effective it really was.
Oh, that's really effective. Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely carrying around more of those. That's awesome.
The one downside to this was the fact that anything I would feed this to would be starving instantly, so I'd have to get them a bunch of food afterwards. Once the Dodic woke up, I completed a milestone and gave it a name.
Rockefeller. Guess that was a mission too.
With the Dodic acquired, I packed up my spike walls and flew back to the highlands where I was met with a yellow drop full of metal structures. 7 of those were water intakes, so when I returned back home I actually set one up in a small water pond. The rest I demolished for resources. With Rockefeller saddled up, I picked him up and went outside to start farming stone.
Also, I should get a bunch, first I'll get a bunch of forges going with all the metal that's in there.
A couple of swings later, I noticed another completed milestone, and looking into the list, next up was crafting 50 structures, and that's honestly perfect considering I was still in the process of building my base. Back inside, I crafted 5 more forges and picked my first one up so I could line them all up properly.
Oh, perfect.
On day 16, I got to smacking up all the metal nodes inside the cave and transferring the metal into my forges with the Omni tool.
Awesome.
Of course, the forges needed some wood to burn as well, so I went out to get that.
Back to metal farming. In the comfort of my own cave. I can get used to this.
There were actually plenty of metal nodes around for me to smack up, so after getting them, I went out to drop a few more trees again. When I returned, I lit on my campfire with some raw meat inside of it as well, and I got to crafting stone structures for my base and building it up. However, I did run out of wood pretty quickly, and farming it on the highlands was really painful, so I decided to fly all the way out to the redwoods on Bird and get a ton of it.
These trees will be way better for farming wood.
Unfortunately, Bird didn't have too much weight capacity either, so I could only carry so much wood back home.
Here you go. Oh, 140. Oh, there's kaijus. That Giga is weak.
On day 17, I made a quick waypoint on my map where the cave entrance is, as I do get lost every now and then. Anyhow, as I started crafting more triangle roofs, I completed the last milestone of the set and got 3 extra skill points. And I put all 3 points into the hot-blooded skill, which increased my passive healing by 300%. As I went out to farm more wood, I checked the next set of milestones, and it was another simple one, consisting of harvesting 1,000 wood, 1,000 thatch, and crafting 10 wooden structures. And I'm gonna make those regardless, so basically I had 3 more skill points coming for free.
Alright, I don't think I care for these like triangle ceilings as much as I thought I would. I might end up changing those. This looks pretty cool otherwise. I like it. Kind of looks like a forge.
With the structure on my base completed, I could look into making a fabricator and looking to start progressing technology-wise.
Missing oil and spark powder.
I could craft the spark powder, but I had to go out and get the oil somewhere.
Oh wait, there's that oil cave. I always forget about that. I'll go get some of that. Fly to the other side of the map if it's alright. Need this fabricator for lights as well as making that shotgun.
While flying, I came across a red drop with a ring, and inside I found a few stews, metal arrows, but more importantly, a Mastercraft flak chest piece.
Crazy. Oh, some good loot. Why is the sky yellow? This is terrifying.
I arrived in the snowy hill area above Viking Bay on day 18, and I started freezing immediately. However, the cold was a much smaller issue than the other one that appeared right in front of me.
Oh, I forgot about that guy. He's here.
At least inside the cave, I was safe from him, so I could mine up the freedom liquid in peace.
I think that's it. Back across the map I go.
I looted a yellow drop on my way back, but the only thing worth mentioning was a few silica pearls. I then arrived back at base at sunrise, and I rushed straight into the smithy to craft that fabricator. I already had some gasoline from a drop, so I could also power it up straight away. I just now have to figure out where I can place it.
Okay, I didn't design this very well for I think I've got a good idea.
I made a couple of quarter ceilings and placed them above the entrance to the little room and slapped the fabricator up top.
I think that's good.
I also had all the resources to craft a primitive pump shotgun, so I made one.
I also like a hollow scope. While I'm at it, I should make a generator and stuff.
I didn't, however, have any electronics though, so I put those new silica pearls to good use and made some. Now, with the generator crafted, I placed it in one of the small rooms and powered it up. Anywho, I made the shotgun, but now I have to upgrade it. The first upgrade was pretty cheap, but I already lacked polymer for the second one.
I'm gonna have to fly really far out to the other side of the map.
Before heading out, I farmed the metal nodes that respawned around my cave to keep my forges busy while I was gone.
Come on, fighter jet. The complete opposite side of the map we go.
I arrived at the crab cave just as the sun started to set. I farmed up a bunch of polymer from one of the flowers, but the locals noticed and they were not happy about my visit.
Oh, this is gonna be so annoying to kill. Oh, those pearls in the water? Hold up, yeah, I'm killing this.
There were 2 crabs, but I really need those pearls. So I pulled through and killed both of them so I could go and fill my pockets safely. On day 19, I finished picking up the pearls, so I grabbed a little more polymer and headed out.
It's gonna be a slow flight back to base.
When I eventually arrived back at the crib, I threw out all the polymer into the upgrade station, and I upgraded the shotgun to apprentice before running out of cementing paste.
Okay, good thing I got this chitin.
I grabbed that and a bunch of stone and then threw that into my mortar and pestles and started converting it to paste. I know, this is pretty strange for me to not go and rob a beaver dam straight away. Anyways, once I had made enough of it, I upgraded it to journeyman and the damage on it was starting to look good.
Okay, the shotgun's getting better. What do I need for more haste? I've got to go collect some taxes.
Alright, I tried to be nice and make my own hard-earned cementing paste, but seeing as the shotgun demanded more and more, I gotta go out and get my own supply. While flying over to the mountains, I opened up a yellow drop that had a marginally better flak helmet for me. While I was heisting, I did get attacked by a couple of terror birds, so I tried to use them as the perfect cover to take more. But some of the beavers saw right through my disguise and attacked me regardless.
Dude, there are terror birds attacking your boys. Go help them.
I grabbed a couple more dams before turning back to fly back home. Back at base on day 20, I threw the paste into the upgrade station and I got the shotgun up to Mastercraft. To make it ascendant, I needed polymer once again, so another flight across the map was imminent.
And I'm gonna need a lot more charcoal for actual bullets.
I grabbed whatever wood that I had left and relit all of my forges with it before going out to the redwoods again to get more.
Might as well farm the 1,000 thatch while I'm here. Got it.
To craft those 10 wooden structures, I chose windows once again as they're pretty cheap to make and I could farm all of them up right here.
Got it. So now, what do I upgrade next?
Looking at all the skills that I could unlock, the bond to taming stood out to me the most. It gave a 10% imprint bonus to any creature that I tamed per level, so I could get a 30% imprint in total. However, this skill costs 2 points per level, so I'd have to complete another set of milestones before I can max it out.
Okay, first tamer, that's definitely gonna have to be what I do next.
For now though, I continued my lumberjack duty, and when I got back home, I transferred some of the wood into my forges. I then kept the rest and farmed up a few metal nodes as well.
It honestly might be better to just make polymer when farming organic polymer. I just can't be asked to do that. First though, I wanna knock out these. Harvest 2,500 berries. Travel 500 meters on tame one of these. Tame an otter. otter. Oh, you know I'll tame an otter. I'll get myself a Kipper. Anyways, I hopped on parry and I got the first milestone knocked out in seconds. Well, that was easy. And the second milestone was also pretty trivial. I literally just ran back and forth inside my cave until it completed. Right, now I just need to tame an otter. Get myself a Kipper that I can establish King of the Ark and King of the Kaijus. So I hopped on fighter jet and I made my way all the way over to the jungle ponds to search for a Kipper. Boom. I found the coelacanth, smacked it, and brought the corpse over to Kipper. As I was dragging the second fish over, my griffin got attacked by Trudons though, so I had to hop on and help out. However, I did get bit once, and I got very sleepy. Did not think I would actually pass out. After waking up from my little nap on day 21, I finished packing up the Trudons, and I dragged the second fish over to Kipper. Kipper. I tamed the otter, why did it not give me the... It didn't give me that. What? Pretty sure the next milestone just glitched out completely and didn't register me taming Kippers, so I wanted to tame a gerbo next. I knew a lot of them spawn over near the beaches with the washed up boxes, so I flew over to find one. Once I located one of these tiny critters, I started punching it until it went to sleep. I then grabbed some fresh berries from a bush and fed it, and then waited around for it to tame and got the milestone completed. Got it. Okay, what should I name this guy? Chippy. Now with 3 new skill points acquired, I fully leveled up the bonded taming skill. Creatures I've tamed have a 30% imprint now, so they're gonna do more damage and take less damage. At first, I thought it would go for all of my tames, but I quickly realized that it's only going to be for the new tames I get after unlocking the skill, meaning my griffin was still pretty weak sadly. Since I'm over here, dude, I might as well take the long way around the map home and get more polymer. On my way over, I stopped by a purple drop which hooked me up with a few shotgun shells. When I got to the cave, I quickly whacked up a few polymer bushes before the crabs could get to me. And with fighter jet nearly encumbered again, I headed back to base. Okay, let's see how much more I can upgrade this shotgun. 2 upgrades later, it was up to ascended, but it only had about 300 damage, so it needs a little more juice. So I grabbed the rest of my metal and threw that into the upgrade station and upgraded it for the last time, putting it up to 327 damage. Yeah, okay, I think this is the best it's getting. This is a pretty good shotgun now. Chippy, you can watch over the base. Oh, or that window. That was like perfect. What? Hello. Anywho, the base itself was pretty dark inside due to the fact that I live in a cave. So the obvious solution was to craft up electronics and make an omnidirectional lamp. Crystal? Okay, I got that in here. Okay, yeah, that does a better job lighting it up in here. Another thing I wanted to make was the holoscope for my shotgun, so I crafted that before going out to try the boomstick. I want to go test out how much damage this shotgun actually does to a weaker kaiju, so I can calculate how many bullets I'm gonna need. On day 22, I found the low-level Mega Hexonics, so I pulled out my freedom stick and fired. Okay, so like 1.5k damage per shot. That's not that bad. I shouldn't actually need to farm up too many bullets then. I was worried I would have to grind out industrial forge, chemistry bench, all that stuff before I could even take down a kaiju. But this is looking much easier than I originally anticipated. So when I got back to base, I transferred all the charcoal that I had into my mortar and pestles, but I would also need a bunch of spark powder, and that's way easier to farm with an Anki. Whatever, let me repair my pickaxe, I'll just farm by hand. After I take down a kaiju, I am definitely getting myself some more farming dinos. With a bunch of spark powder and gunpowder cooking, I started crafting up simple bullets and eventually shotgun shells. Alright, this should be more than enough shotgun shells to take down one of those mega onyx things. That being said, on day 23, I hopped on fighter jet and I headed out to try and find a weak kaiju to kill. Oh, we just shot a pteranodon out of the air. There's one over there. I want to kill this one, but I don't want this guy to come over because once I kill it, I'm gonna have to go down and like harvest it. Alright, I think I'll be good. Light him up. However, I ran into a slight issue, and that was the fact that every time it ate a corpse of another creature, it fully healed itself back up. I gotta clear the area. Even after dropping that PT, the kaiju noticed something else and just walked off to kill that. Oh, he's on me now. Got it. Oh no, it's not dead. Whoa. Did it drop a bag? Where's the kaiju meat? I couldn't see one on the ground, and now there was another Mega Hexonics just wandering around, so I had to take it down as well. After a barrage of shots, it evaporated just like the first one, leaving absolutely nothing behind but confusion. What? Okay, so I just did some research, and apparently that those Mega Onyx things,
Yeah, those are like the only kaiju in this mod that their bodies don't stay there after they die. So basically I need to kill another type of kaiju to get kaiju meat. That also meant I'd have to go back and restock on shotgun shells, which I no longer wanted to do in a couple of mortar and pestles. So when I got back to base, I unlocked the chemistry bench and checked out what resources I was missing for one. Electronics, poly, spark, crystal. It's pretty much everything. I could already make the spark powder and grab some crystal from my cave. Could have enough pearls for this, I think. I queued up all the electronics to craft, and in the meantime, I headed out to get polymer with fighter jet. Gonna go kill some mantises over in the volcano for poly. Should do it. While looking for more, I stopped by a red drop with a ring that actually had quite an interesting assortment of loot. That was a very good drop. On day 24, I unlocked the chainsaw engram, as that would come in handy in farming wood. But to actually make one, I needed polymer, and I was having a hard time actually finding any mantises. Guess all the mantises are gone, dude. Eventually, I found a couple of them though, so I packed them up and then headed back to base. I also had just enough poly left over to craft that chainsaw as well. I should go out and tame an Anki. I grabbed some stem berries and mayo berries from Perry and queued up the tame helpers and then farmed some metal while those were cooking. Another thing that I would need loads of was charcoal, so I crafted a few campfires before going out to get wood. With the campfires burning, I was pretty much ready to go out and tame the Anki. However, I did do a couple of improvements to the base first. I placed storage boxes down to store away the excess chitin that fighter jet was holding onto, and I then crafted a second omnidirectional lamp to light up the base even more. Yep, that's lit better. Alright, now let's go get an Anki. I stopped by the mountains for a second to check out the griffin levels, but they were all terrible. Oh, taxpayers. The first Anki I came across was a level 55, and it was also surrounded by every dangerous creature known to man. I'm glad that Anki's not good because it's in a war zone. Oh, and hello. You know, kind of forgot about kaijus for a second, I'm not gonna lie. I was so locked in on looking for an Anki. There was, however, a red drop with a ring coming down in the canyon, so I had to stop by and check it out, even if that meant getting closer to the Rodan that roams this area. I waited for it to land and parked next to it and quickly grabbed everything inside before dipping. Oh my lord. Yep, getting out of here. I flew up into the snowy hill, and there I found the perfect level 150 Anki. I first led a duo of raptors off the edge and then got to tranking it out. I don't think I need to use this super duper strong stuff. 3 arrows and it was asleep. I then gave it the tame helper and mayo berries, then waited around for it to tame. Oh, dude, what's your issue? You came up to me. That's your fault that you're mad. Anyways, the Anki soon tamed, so I picked it up with a cryo gun and headed back to base. That's the imprinting it gets when I tame new creatures. Yeah, so the ones I tamed before that don't have that. So it's only got like a 10% melee buff. I still needed to make a saddle for the Anki, and surprisingly hide was the resource that I was missing. Before going out to get that though, I had to give the Anki a name. What should I name this guy? Like half blue. Smurf. I grabbed my chainsaw and I made canteens before heading out into the highlands to find an ovis. If you don't know, they're a really good supply of hide and pelt if you need that too. I flew around the highlands for a minute, not finding a single one, so I decided to go over to that new island added to ASA Ragnarok. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Boom! Headshot! Now we are going to load up on. Whoa! You want it too, dude? Y'all want it? Any of you sheep, come at me. Who wants it? Who wants the boomstick? With my Second Amendment rights exercise, I could get back to actually harvesting the corpses. With a bunch of hide farmed in seconds, I swept up the remains for some mutton and headed back home to craft the saddle. Now that Smurf was in his prime working condition, I picked him up with Bird and we flew around the cave smacking up metal nodes. A little more metal smelting now. Let's go get lint off the spark powder. I returned on day 26 and I transferred everything over to the chemistry bench to get all the spark powder cooking. It's a lot of spark powder coming up, be able to dump a lot of charcoal into this thing now as well. I waited around for a bit till it cooked up and then I started crafting the simple bullet. I also decided to make a second smithy specifically for making shotgun shells, and I placed that right next to the main one and then queued up the shells. Alright, I think I have enough shells to try and take down another low level kaiju, and the one I'm gonna go for is, I think there's a low level skull crawler
By the canyons, the complete opposite side of the map. Let's go for that.
I flew over to where I last saw it emerge from the ground and I roamed around the area for a bit. However, the only thing I could find was a decent level Famuto.
Or not a skull crawler.
I looked around the green obelisk cave and I flew down into the canyons where the Famutos were throwing a party.
Yeah, I can't kill a Famuto. Level 25 is 200,000 health.
Finally, on day 27, gliding down into the canyon, I spotted the oversized lizard.
Oh, there it is. Hey, 150,000 health? That thing is terrifying, dude. It just snapped those PTs out of the sky. Rapid regeneration? That's terrible for something I need to kill. How am I supposed to kill this?
I shot it once to see that I was still doing about 1500 damage per shot, but it healed right back up to full health. At first, I wanted to wait around until it literally deleted everything in the area so it couldn't heal, but then I got a better idea.
You know what? No, I have an idea. I have an idea that'll be easier to kill this. I'm gonna just knock it out. I'll knock it out, then kill it. That's the move.
I just needed stronger tranquilizing powers since right now I deal about 3000 torpor per shot. So a quick search into the engram page later, I unlocked the really powerful trank darts and a long neck rifle. I then flew back to base to get to work on farming the stronger narcotics.
Alright, time to farm up a ton of narcoberries.
Just one of the 100x narcotics costs 500 narco berries, so I'm gonna have to do some serious lawn mowing with Perry. So I picked him up with Bird and brought him just outside the cave where I then got to work.
Tons of bushes out here, should be relatively easy.
When I returned, I made 8 more of the 100x narcotics and I crafted the long neck with a few rifle bullets.
Oh, it takes 3? Oh, these are so expensive. I'm gonna farm more just to be safe. Dude, these things better knock it out.
I went outside for the second lawn mowing session and I farmed up a total of 5 more 100x narcotics. Then with the rest of the narcotics, I turned those into the weaker 25x narcotics. I then crafted them into darts, and since they were so expensive, I decided it would be worthwhile to upgrade my long neck in order to get much more out of each dart.
Alright, it's a bit better. Now let's make these darts. Alright, hopefully this is enough to knock them out. These are really strong.
So on day 28, it was time to head back into the canyon and try and take this beast down.
Okay, it drains torpor pretty slowly, which is good.
I could not afford to miss these trank darts at any cost, so I have to get up nice and close and personal with the skull crawler.
Holy Jesus.
Oh yeah, those darts are doing exactly what I need them to. Oh, he's trying to book it.
I quickly loaded one of the weaker darts, and as I got ready to shoot it again, the skull crawler leaped out of the ground, giving me a heart attack.
Oh! Got it. Alright, you are not waking up, boy.
Now, I know it showed me in the awesome spyglass that it could be tamed with raw meat, however, that's just a visual glitch, and the only thing I can actually tame it with was kaiju meat.
Alright, this thing is terrifying. Okay.
Once I had the beast down to 600 health, I hopped on the back of fighter jet to finish it off and get the XP for the both of us.
Oh yeah, give me all that kaiju meat. Oh, it's heavy. Really heavy. Oh, it spoils quick. Oh, I'm gonna have to drop it. I don't want to drop it though. That's so much. Whatever, dude. We gotta get back to base.
My griffin being extremely encumbered did not help at all, but I made it back to base before any of it spoiled, so I threw it all into the preserving bin.
Need to make a fridge.
I unlocked the engram and crafted one, and then slapped it down next to the preserving bin.
Okay, lasts a little longer in there.
I did a little bit of research on the morning of day 29 to see what I should do next.
Okay, so now since we have kaiju meat, we can tame any of the tier 1 kaijus. Being, I'm pretty sure, the Mega Onyx, Muto, and Skullcrawler. Pretty sure.
Another thing I got from killing that Skullcrawler were these kaiju scales.
I'm pretty sure that I can make armor with this stuff. And to do that, I've got to make the cauldron. Pretty sure. And this thing's big. Oh no. So this is how you make taming food.
I checked the engram page out again, and I unlocked the so-called flak helmet, which was actually the kaiju helmet.
Okay, so the armor textures are glitching out a bit, but here it is. A lot stronger, 500 armor, and I think it gives buffs as well.
The textures were missing as of right now, but the mod is actively being worked on, so by the time you're seeing this, everything should be working just fine. Anyways, to craft these armor pieces, I needed kaiju ingots. I've got no idea how to get those though, so the first thing that came to mind was trying to smelt the scales in the forge, but that didn't work. And next, I tried to throw them into the cauldron and light it on fire to see if that would get anything to happen.
No. Okay, I don't think this is working. I'll have to mess around with that and try and figure out how to make the armor.
And to start taming, I would obviously need more of the super strong trank darts. I would need to get a ton of berries for those, and to do that, I had to upgrade my farming equipment a bit.
Farming with Perry's good, but not that good. So I want to tame a Bronto, I think. I
think that would be better. I grabbed a few Mayo berries and narco berries from Perry, and I headed out to find that good Bronto. They're pretty common around the green obelisk area, so I flew over there to see what I could find.
Level 20? Do better than that.
Seeing as that level 20 was the only Bronto around, I flew over to the castle next. Another popular hangout spot for these long-necked lizards.
And where are all the Brontos at?
Yeah, for some reason there was a crippling shortage of Brontos on Ragnarok today.
Dude, there's really no Brontos on this map. What is up with that? I'm really gonna have to go back and tame that level 20. Ridiculous.
While I was heading back, I stopped by a purple drop coming down, and inside I found a nice ascendant for a chest piece as well as journeyman ghillie gauntlets. I returned to the level 20 Bronto on day 30 and I shot it with one of the weaker trank arrows before noticing a whole Giga slowly inching closer.
Oh, there's a Giga right there. Dude, you gotta tame quick.
I fed the sleeping Bronto a tame helper and berries, and I then watched as the Giga tore through everything in its path until there was nothing left but my Bronto.
No! No!
Are we serious?
That's just messed up, dude. Screw you. Level 50. Bullying. Not gonna be able to find another now. Watch me.
Anyways, I spotted a red drop off in the distance, so of course I flew towards it to check out the loot.
A drop with a ring? Why is it so red? This like hurts to look at.
I got a somewhat decent ascended shotgun and a really good riot helmet at least. As I flew to a blue drop, it also had this really strange bright glow.
Oh, the blue drop led me to it. Oh, it disappeared. Well, its sacrifice will not be in vain.
With the 140 Bronto asleep, I could park and cryo fighter jet and gather berries to feed the Bronto since I didn't actually bring any.
Farm them by hand. This sucks.
As I was peacefully just picking my berries, a very angry cat decided to try and ruin my day by jumping me out of the blue. Little did it know the mistake it was making.
Dude, this mom had 3 kids and still decided to attack me. Think you're getting away? I think not. Okay, maybe you are.
The other savers in the area clearly didn't like the fact that I just decreased their future population by 50% and they decided to strike again.
Whoa!
With that now taken care of, I could walk up to the Bronto and feed it. Even though I drained its entire food bar, the taming would still take a minute since berries barely give any taming progress.
Ooh, I need more berries.
When the Bronto eventually woke up, I named him Big Boy and cryoed him up so I could fly back home. Now, back at base, I gave Bird the new Mastercraft saddle that I found in one of the drops, and I crafted a saddle for Big Boy before heading outside to test him out.
This is so much better at farming.
As night took over the sky, I cryoed up Big Boy and flew back inside to cook up the strong narcotics.
All this farming just to craft ore darts. Well, I think they did about 25,000 torpor. I'd like to tame a high level Famuto, maybe that 130. Let's go check how much torpor that actually has.
The level 140 Mega Hexonics out in the Highlands had almost 150,000 torpor, but I really wanted to get me a Famuto first, so I flew back to the canyon.
That's the 130. 174,000. Okay, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
So if my math is correct, I would only need about 7 darts to knock out this Famuto. Of course, I wanted to make a few extra though just to be safe, as there's a high chance that I probably will miss one or two. So I flew back to base and hopped on Bird, and I went out to do some proper lawn mowing and get all these darts crafted up.
And darts, this should be good.
With all the darts crafted, I loaded up the long neck and I grabbed a bunch of kaiju meat since I still didn't know how much I would actually need.
Some of it's gonna spoil. Bringing all this, it's gotta be enough.
And so I headed back out and then into the canyon. Fortunately for me, the level 130 Famuto was up higher on this sort of bridge, so I didn't even have to worry about the other two.
Ooh, it just teleported up there. Oh, it's almost out. Come on, come here, boy. You ain't getting away. Out.
With this behemoth knocked unconscious, I flew fighter jet up to it and I jumped on its back to feed it.
Oh, that kaiju meat doesn't work. Shoot, dude. Okay. That's definitely just a glitch in the mod. I won't lie. That's gonna get fixed.
Yeah, as I previously mentioned, the mod is still a work in progress, so little things like these are gonna get patched as I play. For now though, I had to go through and get some prime meat instead to actually tame up this beast.
Bound to run into some issues if you have a whole mod created just for a video. Let's just pretend this prime meat that I'm about to get is kaiju meat, alright? Please don't flame me too hard in the comments. My ego is already in shambles.
On day 32, I returned to the Famuto to feed it and get it tamed. However, something else already got to it before me.
Something hitting it? Something is hitting it. Boom, we have a Famuto. What is hitting it? What was that?
Not sure what it was, but it got absolutely deleted. Anyway, I had to figure out how I would get down from this thing. Parachutes were an option, but I didn't have any on me at the moment. Also, for some reason, neither the cryo gun or cryopods worked, so I couldn't cryo it up to bring it home.
Oh, what do I even upgrade in this guy?
It was already dishing out serious damage numbers, but I decided that the melee damage would be the stat to upgrade regardless. I whistled fighter jet up to me so I could get down safely, but even from the ground, I couldn't cryo it, so I'd have to walk it back to base.
I guess I'm running back to base on this. I mean, it's fine. It's not slow by any means, as you can see.
I tested out one more thing before just running straight back home, and that was the amount of damage each level increased.
I'm gonna do some damage just with my normal attack. 2,485. I put 1 point in the melee. It goes up by 10 points per, so it's nothing crazy. It does feel nice to have a kaiju, finally. Alright, can I not scale the mountain? This is embarrassing.
Anyways, I somehow needed to get to the other side of this bridge, but going straight onto it was not an option. While I was out here, I killed a low-level griffin in hopes that a new one would spawn, and shortly after that, I figured out just how I'd get across.
Come on, can I make this? Oh, I'm making this.
I also tried to throw hands with the local Fumutos, but the damage to health ratio was just too far apart, so I kinda just left and made my way back to the highlands.
Dude, that Giga looks tiny compared to me.
It was pretty funny seeing the top of the food chain apex predator of the arc getting tossed around by my Fumuto.
And there goes the Giga. That was unsurprisingly easy.
Anyhow, since I couldn't cryo the Fumuto, I kinda just left it outside, chilling in the small pond in front of my entrance.
Oh, this is how I can dismount them. I can just park them here. I landed on the ground. I meant to say I could just fall into the water here. Oh, I gotta name this guy. Or girl, I should say. It's a Fumuto. Bertha. Big Bertha.
Back inside, I actually had a look into the skill tree again, and I found this heavy-footed skill that would be perfect for this challenge.
I need to get this, because I'm gonna be jumping off the back of kaijus and stuff.
For now, parachutes would work just fine though, so I made a few of those. Anyways, I needed more metal since my forges were kinda empty, so I grabbed Smurf and hopped on Bird and then flew out to the redwoods. The grind continued into day 33, however, I was having slight issues with finding a bunch of nodes.
I thought there used to be a ton of metal in the redwoods, but I guess I'm mistaken.
I did get a few more nodes before going back to base on an overweight RG.
I really need to get some more weight pumped into this RG.
Halfway through the century-long flight, I came across a purple drop that had some shotgun shells and metal ingots inside, so I stopped by to grab them. When I returned back to base, I was greeted by quite the strange sight to say the least.
Bertha, what are we doing? Huh? Oh, there we go. Bertha locked in.
After sorting stuff out, back inside I unlocked the vanilla cryopod engram since the modded ones didn't work. I grabbed all the resources, hopped on fighter jet, and I flew out to the red obelisk to craft one. When I got back, Bertha was once again fighting her inner demons and hiding underground.
Bertha, lock in. What are we doing? No, normal cryopods don't work either. Alright, well I guess we just can't cryo them for now. I'd like to tame that 140 Mega Onyx that's around.
But for that, I would need to once again get to lawn mowing, as I would need basically the same amount of those strong trank darts as for the Fumuto. That being said, I grabbed Big Boy and Bird for some more unpaid labor. On a side note, I just now got the imprint buff on Bertha after a quick hotfix, so she's now dealing upwards of 14,000 damage per swing. Anyways, I brought all the narco berries back home on day 34, and I made 15 of the 100x narcotics, which is exactly 5 darts.
I'd like to make like 3 more darts just to be safe.
So I got back to lawn mowing for a little while. Once I was done, I cooked up another 18 narcotics and I crafted a few extra rifle bullets.
Alright, can I make a grill? Boom.
I was slowly running out of real estate to place these industrial structures, so I placed the grill down in the third little room that I had.
Perfect.
I grabbed all the raw meat Bertha was holding onto and plummeted down into the water and then ran back inside to cook it. My narcotics were also done crafting, so I turned those into darts, and now I had plenty to go out and knock out that Mega Hex Onyx.
Should be eating kaiju meat. I'm pretty sure that's fixed. I'm actually gonna try and tame it off the back of my Fumuto. I feel like it'll be okay. I don't think the Mega Onyxes are very fast, and I can just shoot down on it because the Fumuto's so tall.
Problem was, I couldn't actually find the 140 Mega Hex Onyx here in the Highlands anymore.
Is that guy even still around here? Maybe not. That kinda sucks.
So I kinda just continued looking around while stepping on less significant life forms and deleting them.
Oh, Mastercraft treasure map.
As I made my way over the charred area, triple waterfall, I finally arrived at the castle, and there I found the level 90 Mega Hex Onyx.
Level 90? I bet I can kill it. Oh yeah, you dying, boy.
I packed it up without a problem, but since it was a Mega Hexonix, I didn't really get anything from it.
Oh, Mothra. It's only a level 20. Oh wait, is it after me? Oh, it's definitely after me. Oh, there's two! I'm not gonna be able to kill this thing, it's just flying too high.
But Mothra was not what I came here for though, so I left it alone. What I was after was this red drop, although it was kinda disappointing once I actually saw the loot. There was, however, a second red drop and this one had a ring.
Oh, holy electronics.
After grabbing that drop, I spotted another Famuto out in the wild, and this one was by itself, so I decided to challenge it to a fight.
And you're dead. Back to the lobby, buddy. Literally about to do a whole lap around the map.
Or that was the plan at least until I accidentally dropped into the Mariana Trench.
Whoa! Oh no! Oh no! What do I do? I'm drowning. Oh, I gotta put my stuff in this guy. I'm dead.
Yeah, I was way too far away from the surface to survive this one. So thinking quickly, I cryoed up Kipper to keep him safe inside the Famuto, and I waited for my inevitable demise.
I just fell to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, this guy's fine. He's not losing any oxygen.
The only problem with this was the fact that I still couldn't cryo Bertha to get her out of here, so I'd have to wait for a fix for that.
That's crazy. Okay, so I think what I gotta do is get scuba. Go get my stuff. Also, the Famuto should be cryoable now. New update just came out.
I made a scuba tank and a pair of flippers, grabbed a cryo, some food, and primitive flak.
Oh, sweet. I can make the kaiju armor in here now. Oh, I'm so making that when I get back.
Anyways, it was time to go retrieve Bertha and my stuff, so I hopped on fighter jet and I flew all the way across the map again. When I arrived at the Mariana Trench though, I put on my scuba and dove in. Bertha was once again underground, so I approached her with a cryopod. After she locked in, I grabbed my gear and cryoed her up.
What's that up there? Off my body.
With Bertha successfully rescued, I flew up to the top of the canyon and I actually threw her out as getting back home was actually faster on her back.
Bertha, what are we doing? Yeah, like, the Famuto is just the way to get around, dude. Like, screw him and another griffin. I'm just gonna use this thing.
When I got back to base, I cryoed up Bertha, went inside, and threw Kipper back up on my shoulder. Back to making that kaiju armor though. I looked at how many kaiju ingots each piece needed, and then did some quick math and crafted exactly 31 pieces.
This is gonna be some really strong armor. Again, not doing anything to a kaiju, but protecting me, you know?
The ingots took a decent amount of time to cook up, and my cauldron did run out of wood as well, so I had to refuel it and then wait. Finally though, once all the ingots were cooked up, I still couldn't craft the armor.
Okay, well, I can't actually craft it because it says it can only be crafted in the smithy. But if you look in the smithy, kaiju armor is not in there.
So while waiting around for another fix, I crafted a shovel and I decided to go up and dig that Mastercraft treasure map that I found.
Are we serious? Why did you throw out like that?
Anyways, I checked the treasure's location, but I got slightly sidetracked by a red drop with a ring.
Ooh, AC, perfect.
And on day 36, I stomped my way through the lands all the way to the treasure's location.
That is horrible. Okay. There's really not that much spawned in right now. I guess while I wait for new stuff to spawn in, I want to do these missions so I can get the heavy-footed thing. Really, just because I'm jumping off big kaijus, I need less fall damage.
The next milestone I needed to complete was a simple one, and that was to loot 3 white drops. I already saw one in my field of view, so I made my way over to it, or loaded my way over to it, I should say.
Like, this is just too easy traveling like this. That count?
Nope.
What? I wonder if it wants me to take everything from him.
So I tried to do just that on the second white drop.
Take everything. Oh yeah, you just gotta take everything.
Armed with this knowledge, I got up to high ground and I looked around to see if I could spot any more white drops.
Any more drops? How are there like no drops?
Running back towards the Viking Bay, I came across another Mega Hexonix, and this one had a whole child.
Oh, he has a baby! Oh, baby kaiju.
So of course I ended both of their careers since baby kaijus are not supposed to be a thing. Shortly after taking care of business, I spotted another white drop, so I rushed over to it and grabbed it.
One more white drop, dude.
The last white drop I needed landed over in Viking Bay. However, there was a slight issue when it came to collecting it.
Oh, that drops in the mesh anyways.
Bertha was actively starving, so I needed to find a kaiju to kill since regular meat just wasn't cutting it. I mean, it makes sense for a creature of this size to need way more protein.
There's always kaijus in the canyons. Where are they at?
This time there was an odd silence in the canyon though. Barely any Spinos and no kaijus around. But at least I found the last white drop for the milestone, so I grabbed that and checked out the third objective.
Alright, what do I have to do next? Kill 5 of the following. One of them's a parasaur.
Now, I've pulled many plunders before, but this one was really embarrassing, and I pondered for a minute if I should even show you guys. Anyways, as I was exiting the canyons, I had to go through the backside where they connect out to the ocean. And as you might know, that's where the Mariana Trench that I fell into earlier is located. Not the same hole! I fell into the same hole! I don't have my scuba on. I'm such an idiot. Oh my gosh. I had to slowly swim back to shore where a capro jumped at me and received the shell right down his throat. That was not the last of the capro's tomfoolery either. As soon as day 37 rolled around, I witnessed what no one has yet to see. Oh, it launched its... Oh, is it still going? A capro that joined NASA, successfully taking off to the moon. Oh, okay. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna put Kipper in a cryopod, then I'm gonna have to die. I gotta go back to base. Holy Bob move, dude. Fell into the same ocean hole twice. I waited for the ominous countdown on my implant before committing respawn menu and waking back up in my bed at base. I then grabbed my recovery scuba gear and flew across the map again.
Gold crawler right there. I'll have to come back and see what level that is.
When I finally arrived at my body, I grabbed everything and dove in once again to retrieve Bertha.
Oh, where's Bertha?
At first, I thought she was gone, but then I noticed she was just lying sideways, not locked in, inside the wall.
Not bad, Bertha.
With Bertha retrieved, I swam back up to my griffin just to end up in another capro's mouth.
What? Idiot. Let's go check out that skull crawler. If it's a bad level, I'll kill it. If it's a high level, I'll tame it.
But then I heard another kaiju in the close vicinity, so I threw Bertha back out to handle business.
Dude, why does it deploy like that?
Yeah, Bertha seriously needs to lock in.
I don't even know why I'm killing this. This doesn't even give kaiju meat.
Flying through the canyon, I ran into a Rodon again. He seems to be a really big fan of the canyons. Anyways, back by the triple waterfall, I checked that Skullcrawler's level, and let's just say its day was about to get worse by a small margin.
Level 15, oh, I'm killing it.
I actually took a small beating even from a low-level Skullcrawler, which made me even more intrigued to actually tame one. And since I was now stacked up on kaiju meat, I could continue looking for tier 1 kaijus to tame.
I can either tame a Skullcrawler or a Mega Onyx. Gotta tame those two before I can advance to tier 2 kaijus.
While I was roaming, I accidentally stepped on something which was part of the creatures that I needed to kill for the milestone, reminding me to focus on those as well.
Oh wait, yeah, I gotta do this for the mission.
So I ran over to the castle where I found the last 2 parasaurs, completing the milestone and getting me 3 extra skill points.
What are the next missions I can do?
The Jungle Hunter track seemed to be the simplest one. That consisted of killing 10 creatures, looting 10 green drops, and farming 100,000 of any resource.
I can go kill dire wolves real quick.
I made my way up the snowy mountain and slammed into the ground with Bertha, and I got half of the kills done. There were plenty of other critters left on the small hill overlooking the jungle, so I just kinda stepped on all of them. And the last pack of wolves I found on top of the mountain.
Got him.
Next, I had to loot 10 green drops, which would definitely take a hot minute, so I wouldn't actively look for them. Instead, I clapped another low-level Fumuto for a truckload of kaiju meat. Finally, heading back towards base, I spotted the first green drop coming down, so I scooped it up. Waking up on day 38, I found myself practicing the same dark magic Bertha seemed to be cursed by.
I was just in the mesh.
What the hell is even
Whoa! What?
After a quick relog, I hopped on Bertha, she locked in, and everything was fine again.
Okay, the mod just received an update, so I should be able to make kaiju armor now.
So I rushed back home to check it out, but first I placed the AC unit down that I found and sorted out my inventory.
Yeah, I should be able to make the kaiju armor now. Okay, I don't think any buffs, but man, do I look cool. Oh, you know what I can do? I can have Kipper wear one. Kipper is so wearing a kaiju helmet.
So I quickly cooked up a few more kaiju ingots and made another helmet, and I slapped it on Kipper.
Oh no, it just shows up as a flak helmet on him. What if I put a right one on him? Oh yeah, there we go. This is what I'm talking about.
Anyways, I ran back outside and threw out Bertha as it was time to go and actually find another kaiju to tame.
Could honestly just tame whatever Mega Onyx and Skullcrawler that I find next. Because it's not like I'm really gonna be fighting. Yeah, it's not like I'm gonna be fighting Super Godzilla with tier 1 kaijus. They're just gonna be too weak. They're gonna get destroyed.
I walked up to the canyon on Bertha, but then I shoved her in my pocket and I actually threw out Fighter Jet to scout on him instead.
Oh no. Out of stamina in the murder snow.
I basically circled the entire map except the desert, but I couldn't really find any of the kaijus. However, my luck turned 180 degrees on the early morning of day 39. As I was cruising above the canyons, I looked down and spotted the perfect culprit for taming.
Oh, 135 skull crawler. No way. Okay. I had 13 of the strong trank darts on me, which should be more than enough to knock out this thing, so I got to it. Oh, that's so loud. I hate that it can jump, but it's gonna be so cool when I tame one. Oh, where are you going, dude? I really couldn't afford to miss it though, so I had to get up real close to shoot it, and that almost cost me fighter jet. Oh, my griffin nearly just died. Like that. I shot one more dart at the skull crawler before flying back up to get some food for fighter jet. I am so unbelievably lucky my griffin did not die. Oh, there's another skull crawler. Unfortunately, I missed a dart, but I still had 8 left, so I continued shooting it. Got him. He's asleep for 11 hours now. I just had to deal with the second skull crawler now, but luckily it was only a level 20, so I threw out Bertha and pulled up to talk business. And you're dead, buddy. I didn't have any parachutes on me to get down from Bertha safely, so I guess it was time to test out the new skill. Oh, I moved him with my foot bounce. I fed it and tamed it up, except I was missing quite a few levels. Oh, I bet I like really messed up his taming effectiveness when I landed on him. Dang it. Anyways, I cryoed up Bertha as it was time to take this thing out for a test run. This thing is so loud. I also gave it a name. Sheila. I don't know. It's a girl. I tested out her bite and speed ability, but after a bit of hiking, I decided to switch back to fighter jet since Sheila was not that good at scaling terrain. Okay, since we all just witnessed my griffin's cheeks get handed to me by one slap while taming that thing, I'm definitely gonna tame another griffin so I can get imprint, so taming kaijus will just be easier. Since the last griffin trap was used to build my base, it was time to farm up a new one. Alright, let's go look for a high level male griffin now. I flew over to the Triple Waterfall Mountains where griffins love to hang out, but I had to do a bit of pest control first. Hey, I will be taking one 150 male griffin, please. This is not what I ordered. However, the next one I spotted was a level 130 male. Still not what I ordered, but definitely an option to consider. It's kind of booty, but I might as well tame it. Oh, 145 male. 32 points in food, what? You guys want to see a pro gamer move? I bet you I can get both of them in the trap at the same time. I did forget a couple of things though, and those were my tranks and my pteranodon. I couldn't fly them into the trap on the back of fighter jet since he'd get stuck in the trap the same way as they will, cause yeah, they're all griffins. So I flew back to base, grabbed a big boy and Flappy, and I went out to farm berries for tranks. With a few darts made on day 41, I headed back outside and threw out Bertha and stomped my way back to the griffins. Oh, that's a skull crawler. I did not mean to get that guy's attention. Anyways, once I arrived, I threw out Flappy and cryoed Bertha just to get jumped a couple of seconds later. Oh! I did, however, have too much on me for Flappy to carry, so I had to scale the mountain on Bertha, and then carefully climb down since I didn't have any parachute. Woo! With my kneecaps in pieces, I cryoed up Bertha and proceeded to sprint up the hill to farm a few things for parachute. And as I was about to start the construction of the griffin trap, the game reminded me that I didn't own the real estate Ragnarok had to offer. Who closed? What? You're telling me this whole mountain's claimed? Oh, there we go. Okay, watch me as I get both of these griffins in at the same time. I got the 145's attention first, and I made sure to let it hit me a few times to keep its aggro while I flew over to the 130. I did lose one of them while trying to get the other a couple of times, but eventually I had them both on my tail. So I slowly escorted them over to the trap and I got them in on the first try. See that? I told you guys. If you doubted me, let me know in the comments so I can ban you. With both of the griffins now in the trap, it was time to knock them out and see which one came out with better stats. It only took one dart for the griffins to go to sleep, so now I just needed the source to prime meat. And luckily for me, there was a stego with a child nearby. I'm sorry. With plenty of prime secured, I flew back up to feed both of the griffins and watch as they wake up. Just like that, I am in fact that good. Okay. Who turned out better? Yeah, these guys both kind of suck. Yeah, neither of them were really that good, so I kind of just cryoed them both up, picked up the trap, and threw out Bertha to run back home. Back to base to breed these two. Oh! Oh! Back to base, get back to base immediately. Move! Oh, he's coming, dude. I don't know why he's not flying, but he's coming for me.
I skedaddled back to base, crowed Bertha, and ran inside to throw out the griffins to breed.
Yeah, they all have terrible melee. Like, really bad.
I bred Fighter Jet and the one with higher melee, waited for an egg to drop, then brought it inside to hatch.
Let's see if this will hatch with just the one AC that I have. Kind of doubt it.
Surprisingly, it did start incubating, however, my egg hatching speed was not set up properly, so I had to relog to fix it.
Oh, all my settings are messed up. Whoa! All my settings got reset. What? Oh, dude.
So I had to go through everything and set it back to normal before loading back in to check on the egg. The baby popped out with lower melee though, so it had to go.
Sorry, dude. Really want to get a good imprinted griffin here for kaiju taming.
So I waited for the second egg, which also turned out to be garbage. Or that's what I thought at first, but I soon realized it may have actually been a good one.
Oh, you know what? One of them could have had all the stats. It's just, this one has imprint, so these aren't its actual stats.
So I waited for the third egg, and this time I was only looking for the good stamina and health.
Oh, bad health.
And the same fate awaited griffins number 4 and 5. For some reason, they just refused to get the good stats.
I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna rage quit. Alright, I can't do any more of this right now. This is killing me.
So I went back out to look for more kaijus and potential drops.
Oh, terrible drop.
I did have another Mastercraft treasure map, so on day 43 I decided to go out and retrieve it. It was on the other side of the map, of course, so the flight took a solid minute.
This better be a good treasure chest. Bruh. Am I really gonna fight a kaiju with a sword?
As I was flying back, I came across Ghidorah again.
Oh, level 14? That's... Oh! I don't think it matters if it's level 14 or not.
Luckily, its pathfinding AI seemed to be pretty lost, so I got away in one piece. I continued flying around the map, mainly looking for a Mega Hexonyx to tame, but I was having a really hard time finding any kaijus at all. So I returned back home to do something productive instead.
I think it's berry farming time, so I can tame a Mega Hexonyx.
I grabbed Big Boy and we got to work on some serious lawn mowing.
I should see if I can start upgrading my long neck more too. I bet that will definitely help.
That being said, I transferred all of my metal into the upgrade station. I then got the long neck upgraded to Journeyman and then to Mastercraft after also grabbing some wood. Now with darts farmed and a much stronger long neck in hand, I headed back out to see if I could find any kaijus again.
Oh, there we go. Level 7? What? Why are you a level 7? I don't know why they're both level 7. That's weird. I wonder if an update broke them. Oh no.
I wanted to go around and see if I could find a better level, but honestly at this point I would tame the level 7 as well.
Oh! Hello. I was just, minding my own business, Ghidorah. Not doing anything. Oh my. Really? Really? No way. Oh, I'm so cooked here, chat.
I got away just in time since Ghidorah got stuck on something again. Anyways, I found yet another Mega Hexonyx. This one was even lower, only a level 5. And the odd levels weren't limited to the Mega Hexonyxes anymore. I ran across a Godzilla as well, and it was level 37.
Yeah, why are the levels weird? Alright, I'm just gonna knock out one of these 7s. I don't care. I'm ready to move on to the next tier kaiju.
2 darts is all it took to knock out, so I flew back home to grab some kaiju meat from the fridge. And since I'm gonna have to deal with the other Mega Hexonyx, I returned on Bertha.
Back to the lobby, little bro.
I hopped off Bertha and parachuted to the ground and fed the sleeping giant some meat and tame helper. It woke up almost instantly at a whopping level 10.
Now, this guy is not going to be very strong at all.
I still wanted to test him out though, and there was a formidable opponent nearby I could use as a test subject.
Now, let's test him out on this Aloe. He is level 10.
But despite the low level, this Mega Hexonyx actually packed a punch.
Oh, what? Hold up. This dude's so, strong.
I put some points in the health and melee, and I rolled up on a Bronto to make sure I was seeing things right.
What? That's crazy that he's this strong being this low level. It's cool. Alright, well, we've tamed all 3 of the tier 1 kaijus, so I can now tame the next tier. So I can now tame Leatherback, Mothra, the -1 Godzilla, which we've seen over in the volcano, and also Rodan. I don't know how I'm going to tame Rodan. That's going to be interesting to say the least.
Anywho, I returned back to base and I actually got back to breeding my griffins. While waiting around for eggs, I put Smurf to good use by smacking up the metal inside the cave to keep my forges busy. Unfortunately though, for the first egg once again, it was terrible. I put it down real quick.
Get some wood for these forges.
On day 45, I actually got twins from the second egg. If only they had good stats though that I was looking for.
Sure, dude. Screw these griffins. I don't need griffins. Who needs an imprinted griffin?
I stopped the griffins from breeding because I just couldn't be bothered to look for the perfect baby anymore.
Alright, let's make a few more darts, and then I think we'll go try and tame a -1 Godzilla. And I'd honestly like to mess around with that one. That'll definitely be cool.
To tame the tier 2 kaijus, I needed to do a little bit of preparation as well, since you can't just tame them on kaiju meat. Instead, they eat these barrels of sacred nectar, which are cooked up in the cauldron using RG talons, meho berries, silica pearls, honey, and raw meat. An interesting blend of ingredients to say the least.
Let's worry about getting the narcotics first, then we'll make the food.
So I went outside to complete yet another lawn mowing session, after which I could cook up a total of 19 100x narcotics. But by this point, I ran out of simple rifle bullets, so I first pulled all the charcoal that I had into my chemistry bench. I then made the gunpowder, then crafted those bullets, and finally the tranq dart.
Okay, now I need to make barrel of sacred nectar. Okay, let's make some grappling hooks. I think that's how I'll get the bee honey. Shouldn't need to tame a bear.
But first, I checked the meho berries off the list by farming some in the cave with Perry. He probably thought he was good to slack ever since I tamed Big Boy.
Okay, now let's go get RG talons and giant bee honey. I think I'm gonna take the Famuto out. It'll be easy to kill RGs, and also I'll just like be above the beehives. I can just jump down on them, but I have the grapples just in case I need them. Bertha, you cannot keep deploying like this. It's so annoying.
On day 46, I made my way over to the triple waterfall where I clapped the first RG for his talents. I then got a few more claws from a couple of them over at the snowy mountains, and I also packed up a mega hexonics.
Oh, it was a leatherback. Level 14? Why are they all terrible levels?
They did need a good amount of sacred nectar even at a low level, so I'd have to farm up a bunch of those. So I continued stomping through the hills and forests, killing any RGs I spotted and getting their talents. I even found another leatherback, but it was even worse than the one before, so I had to go back into the menu and make sure my difficulty was set to hard. However, then when I loaded back in, both Bertha and I appeared to not be locked in.
What is happening? Why am I sideways?
So after taking care of the wolves, I relogged yet again, and this time I was at least back to standing up straight.
Did my settings reset? Oh my.
I had to go through all the settings again, and when I loaded back in, it got even worse.
Bro, now I'm just straight up in the ground.
Anyways, I did a dino wipe to see if the wild dino levels were back to normal, and after one more relog into the mesh, I was good to continue with whatever I was doing.
Okay, I've got the RG talons. Let's go. Oh, hello. I'm gonna go this way now. Okay, as I was saying, we got the RG talents now. Now I want to go get the beehives. Honey, I should say, from the beehives.
That's if I could get to the redwoods in one piece, as there was danger all around me now all of a sudden.
Oh my. Oh, he's after me. He's after me. Oh, why is there kaijus everywhere now?
I turned right back around and ran through the snowy hills to the canyon where I threw out Fighter Jet and cryoed up Bertha. But then as I was flying towards the redwoods above the murder snow, I ran into the entire ancestry line of the leatherback family tree.
Oh my.
I didn't really have to worry about those for now though. Instead, I had to deal with a gang of ice wyverns that pulled up on me.
Oh,
I tried to flee, but they were super quick and kept up with me even while diving. So I resorted to violence, pulled out my boomstick, and I laid down fire on the enemy aircraft.
dude, they're gonna kill my griffin.
With both me and the griffin on literal life support in the middle of the murder snow, I only had a few seconds to get out of here before I'd have to face the respawn menu.
Oh, dude, that was terrible.
I couldn't risk losing Fighter Jet, so I flew back to base to get him healed up. There was also food that could be cooked in the cauldron that should heal my creatures up to full health, called the Kaiju Remedy. So I checked the ingredients out and collected them and then made a couple of pieces of it.
Alright, let's try it. Let's feed it to the griffin. Oh yeah, perfect. Alright, now let's go get the bee honey.
I made it back into the redwoods on day 47 and I looked around the trees for a minute hoping to find some beehives, but then I remembered that I had trouble finding any on my normal Ragnarok 100 days as well. So I did some quick googling to find out that Ragnarok didn't have any beehive spawning at all.
Okay, so apparently Ragnarok has no beehives for some reason. But I need the honey.
Instead of hives, I needed to find the actual giant queen bees out in the open and tame them. So Google suggested flying over towards the green obelisk area, so I did that, but I couldn't see any oversized bees anywhere, and eventually something went wrong.
Whoa, I got logged out.
A mysterious entity got access to my computer and started adding mods to my game, specifically the Dino Finder mod, which helps me find wild creatures around the map. When I finally regained control of my game, I loaded back in and noticed that Kipper wasn't with me.
Oh, I forgot Kipper somewhere.
Anyways, I'd go look for him soon, but I first checked the other dino finder for bees.
Yeah, there's no bees. How am I supposed to get honey to tame if there's literally no bees on the map? Oh my.
As enough wasn't going on already, Ghidorah appeared and she started casting spells. This time she was summoning lightning around her and blasting the ground with a devastating beam. So I flew all the way back to base again as I had plenty of researching to do.
Alright, well, I hate to do this, but there's literally no bees on the map. Like, I can't get honey. There's no way to get honey. So I'm just gonna have to summon in a beehive as much as it like... I hate doing this stuff, man. I just wish it worked. Oh, yo! Why are they attacking me? This is my hive, dude. Let's chill.
I put some rare flowers into the beehive, but I got attacked by the swarm again.
Why is the beehive mad at me? I get attacked every time I open it? What's up with that?
Well, the honey was the last ingredient that I needed for the sacred barrel, so it was only a matter of time before I could cook some of them up.
Alright, I guess in the meantime, I could probably go knock out a kaiju. They don't wake up too quickly, so let's go find one.
I kinda wanted to get a leatherback, but after going through that attack in the murder snow, I really didn't feel like visiting it again.
Wait, don't I have a good piece of fur back at base?
I flew back to check it out, and I did actually have an ascendant for chest piece, so I grabbed that and headed back out.
Oh, dude, I forgot about Kipper. I left him. Oh, he's on the other side of the map? Oh, no. I gotta go get him.
While flying to Kipper, I spotted a -1 Godzilla below me, and it was a level 145.
Oh, 145 minus Godzilla? I want to tame that.
But Kipper was priority number 1, so on day 48 I returned to his location.
I'm sorry, Kipper. I did not mean to leave you like this.
With Kipper retrieved, I flew back towards base, stopping by a purple drop to grab a few things that could come in handy later on. Now back at base, I sorted out my inventory and I grabbed the honey from the overly aggressive beehive.
Okay, let's try and see how many sacred nectars we can make. 7.
I was actually just short on mayho berries, so I quickly gathered some around the cave and I made 3 more barrels.
Man, these are heavy.
Once they were all finished cooking, I was pretty much ready to go out there and try and get that Godzilla.
Okay, dude, let's go and tame our first tier 2 kaiju. Or we can definitely tame that -1 Godzilla.
A 145 Godzilla pretty close to base was hard to pass up on, so I flew back to the volcano area to find it.
Oh, there's 2. Oh, they have no torpor though. Huh, that's interesting. This dude's gonna take 1 dart to knock out. Oh, but they wake up quick.
And to deal with that second Godzilla, I just shot a weaker dart into it, also knocking it out instantly.
That was easy.
I flew down to the 145 and fed it some tame helper and the nectar. When it tamed, it locked in pretty quick and it also consumed all the other barrels of nectar.
And they're gone.
But at least I had a Godzilla now, so I cryoed up Fighter Jet and I hopped on to test it out on its sleeping brother.
Do I have a breathe attack? Oh yeah. Let's kill this guy.
It took about 3 business days for it to charge up, and once it did, the Godzilla fired a deadly laser beam in front of it, barely dealing any damage at all. Its slap attack, however, dealt decent damage, but they had a questionable hitbox. I tried the laser beam once more, and this time it actually did do more damage because the beam actually hit the other Godzilla.
Finally. Oh, screw you.
Anyways, when I hopped off, I noticed the other Godzilla actually dropped a fertilized egg when it died.
Whoa! Oh, you get an egg?
I cryoed my Godzilla and I flew back home with Fighter Jet.
Okay, I think it's about time I give myself some medical brews, but for that, obviously, I need a cooker.
I first had to sort out the irrigation though. I already had a tap in the little water part of the cave, so I crafted a stone tank and placed it down next to the base.
Well, if I make a cooker, that's gonna be literally all of my metal gone. So, metal in time. I need to feed my addiction.
You need it.
I swear I'm okay, this is not just another excuse to go farm metal. Anyways, I grabbed Smurf and hopped on Bird so we could fly out all the way to the redwoods. On the bright side, I was greeted by a blue drop that had a whopping 3 medical brews inside.
Oh, taxpayers. Hello. Feed my addiction and collect taxes? It's like the best day ever. Who are you? Oh, I thought that was a Microraptor. My bad, dude. You just caught a stray.
While I was getting all this metal, it also occurred to me that I should probably upgrade to an industrial forge. So when I got back to base, I actually grabbed my foundations and made a small platform outside for more refining forges. But I then pulled all of my metal ingots over to the fabricator and I realized I might not actually need the extra smelting power.
Oh, I almost have enough for a forge. What? Oh, I thought I was way more poor than that.
I just needed a little more metal, so I picked up the foundations and transferred all the raw metal over to the forges. I then repaired my chainsaw and went outside to farm the wood for them.
This should be enough wood just to get enough metal to actually make the forge.
That was the metal side of things cooking, but I still needed the other resources like oil, polymer, and crystal.
I think I can get the crystal in my cave here.
I flew my Anki up to the big glowing crystal, but I didn't expect for him to get dug underground.
Oh, where'd he go? Why is he in the map? Hold up. Oh, dude, why are you in the mesh?
After pulling Smurf out of the ground, I farmed the crystal and transferred it all over to the fabricator. Now I just needed the polymer and oil, so I headed out to the ice cave on fighter jet.
Ooh. Hello, beautiful. There's 2 of them.
Anyways, I whacked up the few oil nodes that I could find before my screen started violently shaking.
What is happening? What is that? What? Did it follow me over here?
Yeah, it looked like the perfect time for me to leave, however, Ghidorah had other plans for me. It did get distracted by a couple of creatures on the ground, but after it killed those, it retargeted to me again and just kept chasing me.
Oh, he's following me again.
I was also running out of stamina, so I had to stop somewhere, and I did remember there being a small cave on this island with a tower.
Oh, there's a Fomuto on the island. There's a cave. I'm going for the cave.
I cryoed up fighter jet and I swam to the back of the cave, but now the question was, how do I even get out of here?
What do I do?
I climbed the stairs to the top, but I didn't dare set foot outside. Instead, I used the photo mode camera to look around and see the situation that was out there.
Let me look out with the photo mode. Are we serious? Are we serious? Nah, they are just waiting for me. As soon as I take off on the Griffin, Ghidorah is just gonna aggro right back to me. Why is there... There's literally rocks falling in the cave.
I couldn't stay here forever either, so it was time to bite the bullet and make an escape. I threw fighter jet back out and we flew out of the cave at the perfect time. Ghidorah was too distracted with something else on the ground, allowing me to get away safely. Anyways, I got chased all the way out here to the edge of the map, and I flew straight to the crab cave to get the polymer for the indie forge.
Really don't have a good way to kill this guy. Except the Fomuto that just so happens to be in my pocket.
However, I didn't notice that I had cryo sickness, so when I threw out Bertha, she went straight to sleep, and she was not locked in either.
What? Why is it unconscious? Did I have cryo sickness?
And to make matters worse, I threw Kipper off my shoulder by accident while trying to access Bertha's inventory, and he got stuck. I couldn't whistle him out, and I couldn't pick him up, and Bertha would take a whole 3 hours to wake up.
Waking up in 3 hours? You're joking. I can't even get Kipper to come out of the kaiju. I don't know why. My whistle's not working.
So basically, Bertha would get a free vacation for the next days at the very least. Luckily, I do still have other kaijus that I can use in the meantime. Anyways, I still had to wait for the cryo sickness to wear off so I could throw out fighter jet. And I didn't collect any polymer just yet, so I activated sneak mode to avoid the crabs as much as possible.
Let's try and be sneaky. It's Polly. Oh no, he sees me now. He sees me.
I ran through the backside of the cave and I grappled up to the ceiling to stay safe from the crab.
Alright, this is a little overkill, don't we think?
Anywho, now the sickness was gone, so I threw out my Griffin, hopped on, and robbed the crabs of some more polymer before getting out.
Well, I'm fine with the Fomuto being here, I guess. Nothing's gonna kill it. But like, Kipper is still inside of it. Can I pick it? Give me Kipper, dude. He's stuck. Oh, I got him.
With Kipper retrieved, I was good to head back home.
Alright, well, I better be able to make this forge after all the pain and suffering that I've went through. Got chased by a Ghidorah into a Fomuto, and then I throw out my Fomuto with crab sickness.
I did have all the materials to make the indie forge, so I crafted it, but I now had to figure out where I would actually place it.
I could place it in the middle. It's really the only place it's gonna fit in here, but it's gonna look terrible and take up all my space. Maybe I just... Whatever, we got the forge back here. That works.
So I transferred all the metal into the new forge, and I placed down the stone window back down. I still could access the forge from the inside, so it actually worked out perfectly. Now I could finally unlock the industrial cooker and focus on making that.
So I could make these med brews I probably should, dude. I want to tame a leatherback. Leatherbacks are always in the snow, and we've had some bad experiences in the snow. Little flashback to that.
To actually make the cooker, I needed some cementing paste and freedom liquid yet again.
Hello, taxpayers. I am back once again to steal all of your stuff.
With all the paste I needed and extra borrowed, it was time to dip.
Hey, your dues, boy. Oh, it's a Mothra. I should be able to tame one of those. That's a level 55 though. I'd prefer to tame a high level Mothra.
Among the tier 2 kaijus that I cannot tame, there were 2 flying ones, being Mothra and Rodan. I really wanted to get a flying kaiju tamed as well, so after I was done mining up the oil, I headed straight to the canyon where I knew I could find a Rodan.
Maybe nothing this time around.
Surprisingly, I didn't see any kaijus down there, even though the canyons were notorious for being overcrowded with Famutos and Rodans.
I mean, I could tame the 55 Mothra. Its stats didn't look bad, but like, I really want a good one.
As I was exiting the canyon, I spotted a level 150 Famuto crashing out on the local wildlife, and honestly, I might want to tame that since it's max level. When I returned back to my crib though, I tried to pull everything together for the cooker to craft, but I was still low on ingots, so I had to wait for my forge to cook up some more.
Still waiting on metal, dude. I guess I'll just do some scouting for kaijus that I can tame.
I flew through the vast open part of the desert and found a Godzilla there, but it's pretty much useless due to how slow it actually moves. The next kaiju that caught my attention though was another Mothra over at the Green Obelisk, but it was just a level 55. But just a couple of minutes later, I ran into this beauty.
Thought I just heard something. Mothra? Oh, 130 just walking around? Oh. What's your problem? I have to tame this. That's so much torpor though. Oh, hello.
800,000 torpor was a bit overkill, so I'd likely have to farm up the strongest trank darts at the trank station, those being the 500x darts.
Those cost so many narco berries. I'm assuming its torpor drain is pretty slow though, so we could craft one of the darts and then, you know, shoot it and then come back and see how much that does.
So I flew back to base, but before getting to any lawn mowing, I made the industrial cooker and placed it down next to my grill.
Yeah, this is okay placement. It's whatever. I have a bunch of narcotics for when I crafted them for XP, so this will be super good for med brews.
I still needed to farm all the tinto berries and narco berries for the tranks, so I got to work on that.
Give me all the med brews.
I also moved my trank station next to my 2 smithies since it was annoying having to go all the way to the back of the base.
Oh, see, I can't even make that. It's so expensive. 500 times. I gotta make them.
With all the narco berries I just farmed, I could only make one 500x narcotic, and the trank darts need 3 of them.
Whatever, man. A lot of farming ahead. Lot of farming.
So I got right back to lawn mowing on day 53. Big Boy was putting in unpaid overtime for me just so I could knock out one Mothra. It was all done, however, in the name of progress, so completely reasonable and morally correct.
3 hours later.
That's 3 darts. That how many I can make all that farming for 3 darts?
I could not afford to miss or waste a single one of these 500x darts under any circumstance, so I devised a quick plan of action.
Okay, since I have a bunch of these darts, and these are 100x darts, and these are 500x darts, I'm gonna go test one out on the Mothra, shoot it with one of the 100x darts, and since I'm a pro in math, basically whatever torpor these 100x darts do to the Mothra, I can just multiply that by 5, and that should tell me how many darts I'm actually going to need to knock it out. I hope that makes sense.
Fighter jet was running low on fuel, so when I spotted a Diplo just going about his day in the redwoods, I pulled up to conduct business. Refueled, I continued flying back to that 130 Mothra. And when I arrived on day 54, it was time to put my theory to the test. There was, however, a pretty big issue with the Mothra. Since it was a flying kaiju, it was really easy to miss darts on it.
Oh, I missed. Dude, this thing is so quick.
Once I actually hit it, it dealt 56,000 torpor.
56,000 torpor, so times 5, that's gonna do like 250,000. So I'm not gonna need a ton. I could honestly probably knock that out with what I have.
I pretty much had enough tranks on me to send it asleep, so I just had to hit my shots. It needed 5 barrels of nectar to tame, so I first flew back to make those.
This will dish out like 750 as long as I hit everything. Yeah, I can knock this thing out.
To make the barrels of nectar, I needed more RG talons again, so I went right back outside to hunt those down.
Hello, Sheila.
While I was fighting the Mega Hexonics so I could retrieve more talons, I found out Sheila could actually deal torpor damage with its bite attack.
Wait, my skull crawler does crazy torpor. I just knocked that thing out. What? I knocked it out before I killed it. That's crazy. Hold up, how much torpor am I doing per bite?
The answer is about 16,000 and only 5,400 damage, so I could totally knock out the Mothra with Sheila without wasting a single dart. But I still had to get the RG talons for the nectar, so I continued reducing the RG population of Ragnarok and occasionally harassing the local kaijus.
Look, I don't do a crazy amount of damage. I can for real just knock this guy out. Look, he's out.
I didn't want to tame this level 25 leatherback though, so it was also sentenced to an eternal walk in the afterlife. On a side note, the biting animation of the skull crawler while standing looks pretty funny.
And you're dead, buddy.
Right after killing that, a new leatherback appeared right behind me, and at first I didn't even notice it.
Oh, 140? That like just spawned. Hold up. Alright, let me test my hypothesis. Can I just knock this out with my skull crawler?
I tried to get behind the leatherback and attack it, but he turned around and started smashing the floor, dealing a ton of damage to Sheila. But then he straight up clapped me, stunning me on the spot and nearly killing me.
Oh, that hurts.
I tried to sneak up on it again, but despite the leatherback's size, it could turn around on a dime. However, Sheila also had a few cards up her sleeve. I killed some random local creatures to get rapid healing, but I still had to run away since I couldn't quite out-heal the damage it would deal.
Let me see if I can't get above him. Oh, no. We gotta go. We gotta go. Dude, if I can make some of those, like, healing, things that I can just heal my guy up to full, I'll be good. I know I can knock that guy out.
When I returned back home on day 55, I cooked up a total of 4 barrels of nectar and 8 kaiju remedies, which is the healing food.
So I could go tame that Mothra or the leatherback. I know the Mothra takes 6 and I really want to fly in one. That leatherback is not going to drain its torpor anytime soon, so I think we'll leave that there.
I stored the kaiju remedies in the fridge for later use and I headed out to tame that Mothra, my first flying kaiju.
If I miss one of these darts, I'm actually going to rage. These are so much farm. Why are you flying away? Where are you going?
Once I had a clear shot of the Mothra, I pulled the trigger, sending the first dart flying into its face.
Oh, I headshotted it. Waking up in 250 hours. Yeah, I headshotted it, dude. That sent it straight to sleep. That's what I needed.
I quickly landed by it and fed it some tame helper and then the 5 pieces of nectar, and it started taming straight away.
Yes, dude. This is gonna be so good. I already know. We have a Mothra. I can't believe I just domed a headshot on it.
Straight off the bat, it was moving pretty quickly through the air, much faster than my Griffin. I also need to test out its combat abilities though, and a test subject was kind enough to present itself.
Ouch, that doesn't feel good. 21,000 a bite, okay.
Yeah, the damage was nothing crazy, but it was more than enough for sure. And it didn't really have any other attacks that I could find besides the basic sting.
These things are very quick though. Definitely a good flyer. Probably be using this instead of the Griffin now, to be honest with you.
I flew back home with this oversized cargo plane, and I actually tried to land it inside my cave, which sorta worked.
Oh, he does fit. Okay, he fits. He fits.
It looked pretty goofy blocking the entrance, but what mattered was that he fit in the first place.
Okay, so I need barrel of nectars, obviously, to tame the leatherback. I've only got one, and I'm gonna have to kill more RGs. Let's go check out that leatherback, see how many barrel of nectars I'm gonna need.
I very awkwardly turned around the Mothra and flew back outside. I even found a level 90 leatherback while making my way over to the level 140, and this one needed 12 nectars.
A 95 taking 12? What? How many is the 140 gonna take?
I found the answer to that question on day 56.
16? Alright, well, I've got a lot of farming to do.
I was primarily after RGs, but a wild Famuto was no match for me anymore, so I brought the heat.
You want it, dude? You really want it? Back to the lobby, dude. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Oh my, well, we're gonna see if I can outrun a Ghidorah. Oh, is that 2? There's 2. There's 2.
I booked it out of there, and at first it looked like the Ghidorah was catching up, but as I kept flying, I slowly gained distance from it, meaning I was just slightly faster.
Okay, it lost aggro. Holy Mothras, dude.
On a side note, the map got really foggy for some reason, so I pulled the good old magic trick out of the hat and I relogged to completely remove all the fog.
In need of a lot more RGs.
So I flew around the map killing any and all the RGs that I spotted until I had enough talons for all the nectar. Back at base, I threw the talons into the cauldron and grabbed some more silica pearls and went back outside to farm mayho berries. Before lighting the cauldron and starting the cooking process, I wanted to get more pearls since I didn't have enough for all 16 nectars.
Let's fly out to get the pearls now. Probably just go to the polymer spawn. That's where I know I can get them the easiest. I arrived at the crab cave on day 57, and I landed in the back so I could take out the inhabitants before collecting any pearls. Put on these flippers and get these pearls. There's even more down there that I didn't see last time. With my pockets now full of pearls, I headed back to base. Also, I didn't even notice this in game, but my Famuto Bertha was no longer sleeping there next to the cave. I honestly have no idea where she went or how she disappeared, but at the time, I didn't remember that I left her there. Anyways, when I arrived back at the crib, I tossed all the pearls into the cauldron, lit it, and I started to grab all the honey to cook exactly 16 barrels of nectar. Finally. Oh, that was a lot. A lot of farming. I waited for all of it to cook, and I grabbed one extra nectar that I had in my fridge just in case. So I've got my skull crawler. Now I need kaiju remedies. Okay, let's go try and tame this leatherback now. I then backed out of the cave with Mothra and flew back to the snowy hills where I found the 140 leatherback with basically the same amount of torpor that I left it at. So I landed a safe distance away from it and crowded up my Mothra, and then threw out Sheila to heal and then continue biting the big guy. You will be mine. I got a bunch of free hits on it from the back since it missed an attack. Man, if it was doing dumb stuff like this last time, I wouldn't even have the dawning. Oh, never mind. Never mind, that hurt. Oh, that really hurts. But by the time it started fighting back, it was already too late, and a few bites later, I sent it to sleep. Got it. Yep. Go to sleep, big boy. I hopped off Sheila and fed the leatherback a tame helper along with the nectars. With a little bit of waiting around later, I had me a tamed leatherback, the third tier 2 kaiju. Awesome, dude. Leatherback is tamed. Okay, now this guy better be strong. For all the effort that I had to go through in getting him, I stuffed Sheila into my pocket for now, and I mounted the leatherback to go on a little test drive. Foolishly, I chose to fight another leatherback as my test dummy, but things quickly got out of hand. Okay, 19,000, that's not bad. I don't have any of the other cool attacks. I can only... Oh, I'm shocked. No, that's why. Oh, no. I'm gonna die. Oh, I got the rock throw. I had to get out of there though, since that stun ability absolutely destroyed me. Even after taming this guy, he still didn't have a ton of health compared to my other kaijus. Before trying to take on anything though, I wanted to figure out what the other attacks that I had were, because just slapping them for 19,000 damage was just not enough. I'm just headbutting the ground, so I do have special attacks. This is the rock throw. Oh, okay, I'm figuring out how to use the controls now. The headbutt attack actually did a ton of damage, but had a pretty lengthy cooldown. Instead of going back to throw hands with that wild leatherback, I pulled up on a low-level Famuto. And let me press X, pound the ground. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This attack, on the other hand, did not have a cooldown, so I felt much more confident in taking down the leatherback. So I pulled up again, this time ready to end his career. Okay, so he's just doing this headbutt attack. I can do that too, big boy. I did miss completely somehow, but it was fine as I could just heal back up with the kaiju remedy and slam the floor a few more times to end the fight. Okay, the headbutt is very hit or miss, literally. I mean, this guy's good, but I like Mothra the best, dude. Mothra is definitely my best kaiju at the moment. Man, shut up. Get in the cryopod. Whoa! Once my leatherback calmed down, I put him in my pocket and threw out Mothra and then flew back home. Okay, so now that I've knocked out a decent amount of kaijus that I've tamed, I think the only tier 2 left is Rodan. I haven't seen one. So in the meantime, I want to keep doing the skill tree and keep upgrading this heavy-footed, because I'm taking a lot of damage when I jump off my kaijus. Looking at the milestones again, I actually wanted to do the Trank Expert missions next, as I just had to craft 150 Tranks and deal 10,000 damage with a crossbow. To do that, I would just upgrade my crossbow as much as possible in the upgrade station. I then would find something easy to kill and dome it. I think I'm gonna have to farm metal first, though. I don't really think I have much metal to upgrade. I have nothing. I have to do a metal run. I'm also just looking for an excuse to feed my addiction. Wait, can I do a metal run with Mothra? Mothra did actually have a pick ability, so I wanted to test that out. I waited for my cryo sickness to wear off before throwing out Smurf and trying to pick him up with Mothra. No? Not sure why, but I couldn't pick up the small Anki with the giant Mothra, so I just took Bird as usual. You know what, my Mothra, even though I couldn't pick up the Anki with it, it has a ton of weight. I want to try that. I could just bring it and dump all the metal into it, even though it doesn't get a reduction. I think it has so much weight that it doesn't even matter.
So when I arrived back at base on day 59, I transferred all the metal into the forge and I flew back out to the redwoods to try this new transport method. I first farmed up a ton of metal as you do on a metal run. I then threw out Mothra to transfer everything onto her. And as expected, she was not even close to encumbered since her weight stat was just insane. I could also just leave her out in the middle of the redwoods and continued farming as nothing is really gonna bother her. This way I could fly around the redwoods, farm tons of metal and deposit it all back in the Mothra anytime I got too heavy. I wrapped the big metal farm up on day 60. With my addiction satisfied, I hopped on Mothra and headed back home. Also, don't mind Kipper chilling on Mothra's leg, he's just chill like that. Anyways, when I arrived back at the crib, I checked on the milestones again, and I went outside to farm up stone arrows as I need 150 of them to turn into tranks for the next mission. I then turned them all into trank arrows and finished the second mission, unlocking the third. I grabbed my primitive crossbow, repaired it, and threw it onto the upgrade station. I did have plenty of metal now to start upgrading, however, I still needed more wood. So I grabbed my chainsaw and flew over to a couple of trees and then dropped them, with Mothra too apparently. The last thing I needed for the upgrades was fiber, of course. So I whipped out the trusty sickle and gathered loads of that as well before turning back to go home. I transferred all the resources I just farmed over to the upgrade station and I got to upgrading the crossbow. I was able to get it all the way up to 568 damage, so dealing 10,000 should be a breeze. I hopped back on Mothra and went outside to shoot at anything I could find just to quickly get this mission done. A few shots onto a random Diplo later, I completed the final milestone of the set, and I got my 3 skill points that I put all into heavy footed. I returned back to base on the morning of day 61, and I sorted out my inventory before heading straight back outside to look for another kaiju. I already have 3 out of the 4 tier 2 kaijus tamed, being the -1 Godzilla, Mothra, and Leatherback. So now I was only left with taming the final one before I could move on to the next and final tier, and that of course is Rodan. I flew back to the canyons as that's the only place I've actually seen a Rodan spawn, and sure enough, after a bit of looking, I spotted one. It was also a pretty decent level at level 100, but taming it would be slightly more challenging than all the other kaijus that I've tamed so far. Yeah, not sure what I'm gonna do about that. I also caught his aggro somehow, so I had to dip, and while doing so, I spotted a second Rodan just below this one being a low level. Anyways, I flew back home for the time being as I had plenty of farming to do since Rodan, just like Leatherback, is one hungry critter. It's gonna require a humble 15 barrels of sacred nectar to tame.
Holy farm. So I need to kill like 15 RGs.
On that note, I headed back out on my Mothra to get all the talons sorted first.
Oh my. Oh my. He got me out of the sky. This is just... Is this necessary? Is this necessary?
While I was out and about, a purple drop with a ring caught my attention. I could already see an Ascendant long neck rifle inside of it through the awesome spyglass, so of course I gotta go over and open it.
Oh, holy rifle. This is so much better than my rifle. Holy pool. Oh, that's how you do the spit attack. It's X. Hold up, how much damage does this do? It doesn't do a ton of damage, admittedly. Okay, let's keep looking for RGs.
I was able to farm all 30 talons just as the day turned into night, so I headed back home.
Hey, RG talons, so just some ramen. And then I got the honey in my fridge. Do I have any ramen?
The answer was no, so Mothra would have to do a little bit of killing again. Fortunately, the 2 Brontos I found chilling out in the highlands provided me with all the raw meat in the world, so I could head right back inside and start cooking.
Okay, well, we've got all the barrels going, which is nice. I think I should have enough to knock out the Rodan with, you know, these darts that I got in this new long neck, which is really good. It would have cost me so many materials to upgrade this long neck to the damage this one has. Very lucky find.
I waited around for all the nectar to finish cooking, and I stored the remaining ingredients away before getting ready to head out.
Alright, dude, let's go and try and knock a Rodan out. This is going to be terrifying. Oh, that's... not good.
Yeah, fighter jet couldn't carry the weight of all my stuff and the 15 barrels of nectar, which is understandable considering their kaiju snacks. My other griffin on the other hand had a better weight stat and a few passively gained levels ready, so I put a few points in the weight and then the rest into stamina. Now that I could fly again, I headed out to the canyons to attempt the most terrifying tame yet.
25. I think there's the 100 around too, though. It's another 25? I just heard another one. Oh, 90. Where's the 100?
And more of them just kept appearing.
There are so many in here. There's one right there. It's a 90. Honestly, dude, that 90 could be the move to tame because it's stuck. And I'm not be in the 100.
I concluded that the level 100 was just lost to the backrooms or something, and that taming the level 90 would be a much better idea anyway. So with a clear shot in sight, I fired one of the 500x darts at it, hitting it for over 300,000 torpor.
Okay, that did half of its torpor. That's good. Come on, gain stamina. Oh my. A 140 just spawned in right there. Literally spawned right in front of my eyes. Oh no. Oh, I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked. This is the end of me. This is the end of me.
Somehow, it wasn't the end of me just yet, but that 140 looked really tameable. It had almost a million torpor, but seeing my tranks do 327,000 made it actually kinda reasonable to try. So the plan changed from getting that 90 to going back to base and farming up the 2 extra 500x darts that I will need to knock out that 140.
I'm gonna have to fly the long way around the map. Can't really fly through the murder snow on this crappy griffin. And I'm not flying over the canyons because there's 7 million Rodons in there.
I finally arrived home on day 63, and it dawned on me that I would also need to farm even more barrels of nectar for the higher level Rodon. But before worrying about those, I grabbed Big Boy and I flew outside with Mothra to do some good old lawn mowing.
Alright, let's see how many narcotics I can make with that. Need to be able to make 6.
I grabbed some spoiled meat and a few narco berries from the fridge, and I could actually craft exactly 6 of the 500x narcotics.
Here's all the darts that I should need. So I'm gonna need a few extra barrels of nectar, but I can't be asked to farm those right now. So let's just go and try and knock this thing out first.
With a torpor pool like that, it shouldn't wake up anytime soon, so I have all the time in the world to get the nectars farmed. So that being said, I was right off to the canyons once again, this time with fighter jet since I didn't have to carry any nectar on me.
And smack that thing in the face.
I'm sure karma wouldn't get me for this anytime soon. I arrived in the canyons on day 64, and I once again had the job of finding the one high level Rodon among all the other ones.
See, yeah, that attack is horrifying. That's the one I shot earlier. Where's the 140?
Once I spotted the 140, I also noticed that it needs 20 barrels of nectar, so not as bad as I initially thought.
What is that attack? Like, how am I supposed to trank this thing out? It just explodes. Oh my, I'm cooked. Oh, yeah. Oh, Kipper died, no! I'm gonna have to tame another Kipper. Well, this makes things interesting.
I grabbed the scuffed set of armor, and I headed out to go and retrieve my stuff with Mothra. Knocking it out with tranks was going to be next to impossible though, so my only other option would be my Skullcrawler.
Oh, I should have brought my awesome spyglass. I don't know what level this one is. I'm gonna try and kill him. Hold up, I want it to attack me. How much damage does it do? Not that much damage at all.
Yeah, so as menacing as the Rodon was, he didn't actually deal that much damage, so maybe the Skullcrawler was the way to go in the first place. So I flew back home to craft an awesome spyglass. I then returned to find the Rodon that I attacked actually flew over to the Charred Hill snowy area.
Like 1,000,000 health? Ain't nothing to my Mothra, oh my. That attack does so much damage. Oh, I forgot the healing stuff.
I continued throwing hands regardless, and soon enough I emerged victorious because of the simple fact that I am him. Anyways, I arrived at the supposed location of my death, and I found 2 bags floating midair, so I couldn't really retrieve them like this. What I had to do instead though was punch a tree for some thatch, and then craft the Omni tool and use that to pull everything in my inventory.
Literally everything in my inventory. Yeah, rip fighter jet too. I could definitely, try the, try the Skullcrawler to knock it out. I'm just gonna need a lot of those, like, heal things. Otherwise, I should be fine, though.
When I arrived back at base, I started cooking up new kaiju ingots to fix my armor. Or fixing it was what I tried to do at least.
Oh, this stuff's just, like, not repairable. What? I guess I'll just have to make completely new chests and legs. That's fine, the other stuff isn't that damaged. Man, F in the chat for Kipper, though. That sucks.
On day 65, I cooked up a couple of kaiju remedies, and I headed out to get kaiju meat for some more. I found a low-level -1 Godzilla near the volcano, so I packed that up with Mothra, and I brought all the meat back home.
Give me the kaiju meat. Oh yes, give me all the kaiju remedies.
Once they were done cooking, I had a total of 25 kaiju remedies. I fed one to my Mothra since she lost a decent amount of health fighting. The rest I would use on my Skullcrawler to try and knock out that Rodon. So that being said, I headed back out to the canyon to find that 140 once again.
Just 105. Dude, where'd the 140 go? Don't tell me it's gone.
I stopped by a purple drop with a ring and got me a decent ascendant for a cap, but there was still no sign of the 140 Rodon anywhere. I flew down into the canyon again and saw that new Rodons once again spawned. None of them were better than the 140, but there was one that got pretty close.
Oh, there's a 135 now though. But dude, there are so many Rodons. Why are there so many? I swear spawn rates just keep increasing. Oh my. There's 3. There are 3 chasing me right now. There are 4 chasing me right now.
I hit the 135 to get it singled out from the rest, and I dragged it all the way over towards the green obelisk.
Think it's distracted? That guy's still gunning for me. What's your problem? I didn't even attack you.
Yeah, this 95 was a little more persistent than any other Rodon, so I had to throw hands with it.
And you're dead.
Now that I had the 135 singled out from the gang of Rodons, I could deploy Sheila and attempt to knock it out.
Hello, Sheila. Are we ready to put in some work or what?
I tried to shoot the Rodon with a 500x strength to start off the fight, but I missed it because he was already beelining it straight towards me.
I missed my long neck, but this is working.
I dodged the enormous explosions and ran back to bite the Rodon a bunch more, making sure to heal up with the kaiju remedies every so often.
Ooh, that was kind of close, I'm not gonna lie. Come on, it's almost out though. And it's out.
With the mission successfully executed, I cryoed up Sheila and slowly descended to the ground to retrieve the remedies.
So this will be here for a while. I've actually got to go back to base and make more nectars now. I've also got to wait on cryo timer.
Once the sickness wore off, I popped out my Mothra and flew back to base. I had 16 nectars in my fridge, so I would only need to cook up an extra 3 to tame this Rodon. But that of course meant I would need to end the poor existence of 3 more Argies again, so I headed out to find the unlucky sacrifices. When I returned, I opened up my beehive to grab the honey and get assaulted as usual. On day 6-7, I finished cooking up the nectar, so I hopped on Mothra and I flew back to check on the sleeping Rodon.
Yo! Okay, there it is. I thought it was gone for a second. I'm not gonna lie, I would have been very mad if this thing was gone. This thing was a pain to knock out.
I did have a slightly bigger problem though. I couldn't actually access its inventory. I tried from his feet, his wings, and I even jumped off Mothra and landed on its back, but I still couldn't open it.
I can't access its inventory.
I even tried relogging to see if that would help, but no.
That means, like, I am at your mouth, dude. I think I'm just gonna have to force tame it. Alright, well, needs 19 barrels to tame. Throw those away. Bro, 1 tame mil per away.
But even force taming didn't work somehow.
That's anticlimactic. Wait, I saw it! This creature can only be tamed while awake? That's just not how it's supposed to.
Yeah, not sure what was wrong with this Rodon or his hitbox, but I couldn't actually even tame him with cheats. I flew up to his face trying to force tame him again, but nothing. Couldn't open his inventory, couldn't force tame him. This guy's just broken, dude.
Are we serious? Yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to tame the Rodon. This is what I get for trying to have a whole mod built right before a video. It's alright. Well, I'm checking Rodon off the list. I've tamed all the tier 2 kaijus. This is annoying. I was really excited to have one of these, but it looks to just not be tameable. So that sucks, but anyways, we can finally move on to tier 3 kaijus. I'm just gonna leave that dude there. Who knows? It'll be asleep for what? How many hours? It'll be asleep for, 43 hours. If there's an update that comes out and fixes it, who knows, I'll come back and feed it, tame it.
Anywho, I flew back to base and I looked into the cauldron to see the food for the tier 3 kaijus. The food used to tame the strongest of the kaijus is called the Celestial Stone, and it requires a bunch of stone, narcotics, and a whole Giga Heart. I did remember killing a Giga, but looking through my stuff, I didn't have one stored away anywhere, so I must have dropped it. So it was time to head out again and look for another Giga or Car. The Highlands usually have a Giga or 2 running around, so I first looked all around the new island and then the mainland.
Hey, no Gigas in the Highlands. Let's go check around Greenhob, where my Rodon that I'm supposed to be able to tame is. Man, that sucks.
I arrived at the obelisk on day 68, but I had to dip immediately as 2 whole Ghidorahs appeared.
Oh my. Oh, there wasn't any Gigas over there.
The last place I knew they could spawn at was the vast open desert, so I started heading there.
Ghidorah, through me, dude. Alright, let's scout this huge desert for any Gigas now. That 95 Ghidorah said it was gonna take 6 Celestial Stones to tame. Meaning if I wanted to tame that one, I would need 6 Giga Hearts. So 6 killed Gigas or Cars. That's insane.
Killing said Gigas and Cars was the easy part though. It's actually finding them that was a struggle. Even the massive desert was empty, not a soul in sight. So I had to fly back home defeated once again.
Alright, with me having some bad luck with kaijus lately, like not finding any Giga Hearts, my Rodon not being able to be tamed, Kipper being gone, I think it's time for me to take a step back, you know, take things a little slower. I've been rushing around doing a whole lot lately. I need to tame another Kipper. I'd like to do some more work on my base. It looks cool, but we can definitely make it look cooler. So let's get to that. I'm not a fan of these. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of these roofs that I have, these triangle things. I'm gonna swap them out. I want railings, add some extensions off the base. It should look cool.
But every base expansion starts off with a proper farming run, so I picked up Rockefeller and we went out to smack up a bunch of rocks and drop a few trees. And on day 69, it was time to get to crafting and actually cooking on the base.
Alright, I'm liking this already. Now, I've got another idea. I'm not sure how it's gonna look, but we're gonna try it.
I grabbed a bunch of resources and I went out to farm a little bit more wood before coming back inside and crafting up a bunch of triangle ceilings. I then flew up to the top of the base, picked up the railings from the 6 corners to the hexagon, and I expanded them outwards with the ceiling.
We're gonna add little extensions here, kind of still giving it that castle-y vibe, you know? I don't know, I'm just kind of doing stuff.
Now, it didn't look as good just yet, but I had an idea to fix that. I pulled all the sloped triangle ceilings that I picked up into my inventory, and I tried placing them below the platforms as support. It's starting to look really cool already, but placing them was really awkward due to Ark's interesting snapping mechanics. Unfortunately, the dino gate I had as my entrance was obstructing the placement up front, so I did have to pick it up. To make my life easier, I crafted new grapples and made my way to the top of the base and placed the railings down on all platforms.
Okay, this does look pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I definitely cooked with this upgrade on the base, but now I had to replace the dino gate with pixel perfection to complete it.
This looks good, dude.
As a final touch, I crafted stone stairs and I placed those down at the front of the gate with railings on each side as well, although the railings did have a questionable snap point.
Why can't I place railings on them?
Yeah, for some reason there was just no snap point going straight down the stairs, so I decided to just remove them. One thing I never added to the base was closable windows, so I went out to farm up a bunch of those and close up all the windows around the base.
Alright, Chippy, bro. You gotta go out the window. Yeah, this looks good. I like this base. Okay, so I just did a dino wipe. Hopefully reset giga spawns. So I'm gonna go take a flight or two around the map, you know, just to get everything loaded back in.
Finding 0 gigas on the whole map was pretty concerning last time, so I wanted to take safety measures and do the dino wipe to hopefully get some gigas or cars to appear. Anywho, while flying around, I spotted a low level Famuto near the canyon, so I had to get rid of it. But that also reminded me of something I forgot about earlier.
Checking out my kaiju spawns, boy. Being a level 20. Oh, you know what? I bet my Famuto's up by now. Let's go get that.
I made my way straight to the crab cave again, and just like last time, Bertha was nowhere to be seen.
Where's my... Is it underwater? I hear it underwater. Bertha, we cannot be serious.
Bertha was straight up at the bottom of the ocean with her head dug into the ground and feet up in the air, not locked in at all.
Oh, it's not... Oh, it's almost awake. Alright, I'm just gonna wait until this thing wakes up.
I hopped back on Mothra and I waited till Bertha lost her torpor. Swimming back down, she was once again not locked in, this time laying sideways in the ground, so I cryoed her up and then dipped.
What? Did y'all just see that thunder come down over, or lightning I should say? I'm flying over there, I'm checking out what that was.
It seemed to come from the canyon area, but once I actually made my way over there, I couldn't actually find anything out of the ordinary.
I don't know what that lightning's about.
I did return back to base after that, but I was right back off to flying around the map as I still needed to tame a Kipper.
Gotta have a Kipper to, you know, establish Kipper as king of the Ark.
I flew back to the big lake near the jungle where a lot of Kippers tend to hang out.
Oh, you know what I can do? I do just so happen to have a certain mod installed. Oh, there are no otters on the map right now. Okay. Gonna have to do some flying around to hopefully get some to respawn.
I hopped back on Mothra to continue my scouting journey throughout the map, and almost immediately I ran into another Ghidorah.
Oh! I can actually look at the... I should actually look at the Ghidorahs now. I can tame one. Also, a new update came out. I should be able to tame Rodan now.
Unfortunately though, that did also mean that the one Rodan I had unconscious was gone. I flew over to the green obelisk to make sure, but yeah, there was no trace of him anymore.
Oh, there's a Giga. Hold up, I need to kill this for its heart.
While at it, I wanted to fly over to the desert next and scout that area for any gigas or cars. And as I was heading over, I ran into another Ghidorah, this time a level 55.
Oh, car. Perfect.
It was also now, after killing this car, that I realized I could use the Dino Finder mod to look for gigas too, not just Kippers.
Still no otters, really? No gigas? No. Oh! Hello, Ghidorah. Spawn right in.
As I flew back home, I found another Giga out in the highlands just straight up chilling. So it's either the Dino Finder not working or this was a fresh spawn. Either way, I ripped out its heart and I returned back to base to cook up some regular narcotics, as you need those to craft the Celestial Stone, which is the food for the tier 3 kaijus.
It's cold in here, man. Oh, it's because I don't have an otter on my shoulder.
Anyways, I cooked up 3 Celestial Stones and I stored them away in my fridge before throwing some raw meat on the grill, as I was running out of food myself.
Like, this thing, I can't trust it. Like, I know there's dodos somewhere on the island, dude. This thing's just not. I saw griffins. Like, this, it's just not right. Okay, it's time to keep scouting. I really want to find a good Ghidorah to tame. I've also got to find a Destroya, which I haven't even seen one of those so far in this 100 days. They must be super rare.
So I pretty much just had to cross my fingers and hope I would run into one eventually. The least I could do was kill any less important kaiju such as Mega Hexonyxes.
It's a Ghidorah. It's a level 15, dude. I'm fighting it. I'm gonna kill it.
For all these days, I've been cowering and running away from this giant 3-headed dragon. But now it's time to stick up for myself and fight back.
I feel like I'm in War Thunder right now, dude. This probably's got nothing on what the air battles are like in War Thunder, though. Got it. I killed it. Dead. Oh, 10 levels? Holy, I should be killing all the Ghidorahs.
Anyways, I checked the Dino Finder again, but it still showed 0 otters on the map, so I just flew over to the other big lake to look for myself.
There's gotta be an otter in this spot. Where the otters at?
The whole lake seemed to be pretty clear of any otters, but I was determined to find one. I need a Kipper. As I was leaving, I peeked into the Dino Finder again, and this time it actually showed one on the map.
Wait, how do I see where it is? Oh, I probably gotta press to mark it on the map.
It appeared to be right below me somewhere, so I landed in Mothra to look on foot.
I will find this guy if it's the last thing I do. Oh, there he is. Hello, Kipper.
It only took 1 feed to tame Kipper V2, but I was still under attack from the other saber-tooth salmon.
Oh, Kipper. Kipper, come here. Kipper. Kipper, don't die. Oh, he just annihilated a fish, dude. All right, he's on my shoulder. I'm getting out. I don't care. I'm not losing Kipper V2.
With Kipper acquired, I headed right back to base, and I gave him a riot helmet again to keep him armored.
Oh, yeah. Give him the riot helmet from the old Kipper. Let's just not tell him. Yep. They got you a new helmet, dude. Never been worn by anyone else. No one else. Okay. Let's go fly around, start taking out Ghidorahs left and right. I'm getting me a high level one.
There was that mid Ghidorah over at the desert, so I flew out towards that, completely oblivious to the second one that appeared right beside me.
Whoa! Oh!
And it only got worse.
Oh my. Dude, what is happening? What is happening?
Yeah, maybe finding a high level wouldn't be so hard after all. A level 130 appeared right beside me as well, but there was a slight issue with actually taming it.
Oh, okay, 3 Celestial Stones for 130 Ghidorah? Okay, I could knock that out if I didn't have 7 Ghidorahs flying at me right now.
I slowly kited the entire flock away until they lost aggro one by one, and the chase got dragged all the way out through the redwoods, and the 130 lost me when I returned back to the highlands.
Okay, let's stop following me now, please.
Now, I still had plenty of kaiju remedies in my fridge, so I just grabbed my skullcrawler and I headed right back out to try and knock out that 130 Ghidorah. Or that was the plan at least, until I pulled a generational fumble.
I cryo-sicked it. We cannot be serious.
I once again didn't notice that I had cryo sickness before throwing something out, and Sheila wouldn't be waking up anytime soon. So I had to commit to the walk of shame down the highlands, where I threw Mothra back out and returned home.
What do I do, dude? Let's try and tame another skullcrawler. I really don't want to knock it out with darts. That seems like asking to die.
Yeah, my only option was to go out and tame another skullcrawler, which albeit isn't the hardest thing in the world to do. So I hopped back on the Mothra and we headed out looking for said skullcrawler.
Bruh. Why are only Ghidorahs spawning? Where is everything else?
Get over here!
Oh, he's not coming this way, is he? Really? Why is their aggro range so big?
No, something is definitely up with these Ghidorahs. I mean, I could literally be minding my own business inside the crab cave and a Ghidorah that spawned over at the blue obelisk would just spot me and fly across the map just to say hi.
Oh my. Yo, dude, blue's aggro.
I lost its aggro, but now there's a whole Ghidorah roaming the highlands, so I flew back into the safety of my home.
I mean, I could try knocking out the 130 Ghidorah, but it's just asking to die. I don't know. I could definitely try it though.
At this point, it was starting to sound like a better alternative considering the entire map is just Ghidorahs, so looking for a skullcrawler is probably more dangerous than trying to knock one out with darts.
Alright, I'm gonna leave Kipper V2 here. I'm not trying to lose another Kipper. I'm gonna go see how, knocking this Ghidorah out with darts goes. I'm fully expecting to die here.
I loaded another 500x dart into my long neck and I approached hostile airspace.
Woo! Land for stamina. Oh, that's a 25. What? This should be the 130. Alright, we gotta go back. That's not even what I was... Where's the 130? Oh, it's on me now. I'm cooked.
Thankfully, I made it to safety just in time. Since that 130 Ghidorah was gone, I'd have to find another one, again. So I'd have to fly around the map whether I liked it or not, meaning I could tame a skullcrawler if I do happen to find one.
Dude, there are only Ghidorahs on the map. I don't understand what's going on. Where are the other kaijus?
Everywhere I went, random Ghidorahs would just pop into existence and it was beyond concerning.
Dude, there's nothing but Ghidorahs. What is going on?
I checked the canyons out as well, expecting to see a sea of Ghidorahs, but to my surprise, it was actually empty. Well, except for this one Famuto. I did a lap around the green obelisk, not finding anything, but when I crossed the canyons again, I finally found what I was looking for.
Oh, finally. Oh, 140, perfect. I bet I can just shoot this.
I hopped off Mothra for just a second to take a shot and I almost ended up getting clapped. Literally, clapped. I was probably just inches away from instant death considering the Mothra got hit and I was standing right on top of her. So I decided to not take chances anymore. I threw out my Griffin instead to shoot the Skullcrawler from a safe distance.
And you're out. Is he getting hit? Bro!
Of course, in typical Ark fashion, a tiny pesky Dilo was biting the giant Skullcrawler, and it was ruining all of the taming effectiveness.
Are you really?
Anyways, I flew down to the canyon below to quickly pack up a low-level Famuto for kaiju meat, and then return back to feed the Skullcrawler. Once the sickness wore off, I swapped Mothra out for the Skullcrawler, and I went around killing anything I could find, putting all the points in the melee so its bite would deal more torpor.
Alright, I want to see how much torpor this guy's doing now. Let's just bite this leatherback real quick. Okay, 16k torpor, that's what my other one was doing. So this should be good to knock out a Ghidorah. There's one in the ground right there. I'm just gonna keep going this way. Oh my, and the leatherback's coming for me. Oh my. Oh, guys.
I honestly don't know how I didn't die there, but I made it back to base in one piece, so I quickly grabbed a cryopod and I shot the new Skullcrawler. I definitely needed a breather and maybe even a bathroom break after all that just went down, so the rest of day 76 looked something like this. On day 77, I was mentally prepared again to head out onto the literal Ghidorah war zone that was Ragnarok.
Bruh. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of running in fear, dude. I've killed one before, I can kill another. And back to the lobby, dude.
Anywho, I was actually looking for a Rodan to tame, but I actually ended up coming across a kaiju I'm yet to even see.
Oh, it's a destroyer!
I did also find a Rodan near the canyon, but it was only a level 20, so I just killed it.
Oh, 95. Got any better ones? Oh, here we got more. 20. Oh, 135 in the floor.
I tried flying out a render distance to see if I would get out of the ground, but that didn't seem to help. So for the time being, I wanted to get back to farming the nectar barrels.
And it's another destroyer. They're spawning in like crazy now. Alright, I've got enough arch talons for the nectars. Let's go back to base. I think I've got everything else I need for them.
As I was flying above the canyon, I pitched down to see if that 135 was still stuck in the ground.
Oh, this is it. Hold up. Let me get this guy's attention. We can go knock him out and then go make the barrels.
However, I didn't have the kaiju remedies on me to heal up, so I couldn't knock out this Rodan just yet. Instead, I flew back home and I grabbed a big boy to do some overtime for me in the highlands. I just needed a few meho berries for the nectar, so 2 swings later, I was right back to base. On day 78, I cooked up the 10 barrels of nectar that I would need and grabbed the kaiju remedies from my fridge, and I headed back out to finally, hopefully, tame a Rodon.
Oh, there it is. There's the 135. Of course, it's in the murder snow, surrounded by leatherbacks.
I got its attention and I brought it over to a safer spot, sort of. Nowhere is truly safe, but at least it was out of the murder snow, away from the leatherbacks. I flew behind the bridge, crowd up the Mothra, and threw out my skullcrawler so I could start knocking out the Rodon.
Sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. That was close. And you're asleep.
The hitbox seemed to be a little bit glitchy, but I tried to go under him and access his inventory. But let's just say that didn't go how I expected it to.
What? What? Are you serious? I just died because I was under its feet. Oh, there's no way. And Kipper died. There's no way. Oh, we cannot be serious.
I really didn't think a sleeping kaiju would kill me by stepping on me. Anyways, I respawned back at base, put together another kit with grapples, and flew back on a griffin.
Okay, let's try and get my body back. I can't believe this, dude. Oh, no, happening again.
I couldn't even see my body, and as soon as I got a little close, I started taking heavy damage once again.
Where's my body? Alright, I think my best bet is just to go back to base, make stuff to tame it, and then get my stuff, because I just can't get anywhere near my body.
As I entered the highlands, I got chased all the way back home by a destroyer, but thankfully I was just fast enough to avoid getting clapped. So I made another 10 barrels of nectar, equipped a bunch of more scuffed flak, and a kaiju helmet. I also crafted a few handy things like parachutes, a tame helper, and then an awesome spyglass before heading back out.
Alright, I've got everything. Let's go try this.
I did have to take the long way around the map since there was that destroyer literally right outside my base. But I did make it back, so I hopped off onto the Rodon and finally fed him.
Oh, there we go. Yes, dude. Oh my.
I moved him away so I could get my body back, but I couldn't actually see where it was on the ground.
Is it under the map? Oh no, dude. Where is it? Why did my body vanish? Did we just lose the Skullcrawler and Mothra?
I did a quick relog, after which I could see the exact location of my corpse, so I had to use greater powers to retrieve everything.
Oh no, yep, my body was under the mesh. Okay, I knew it.
Anywho, it was finally time to test out Rodon. After the losses and hardship, I could finally fly on my own Rodon.
Oh wait. Oh, he glides. Oh, that's crazy. He glides like a griffin. I need like a crappy Famuto I can attack.
There was a level 20 test subject just down in the canyon, so I pulled up to test out the abilities.
Okay, 6,000 a bite. That's not good. What other attacks do we have? Okay, that's the fire C-spin of like death and destruction. That does a lot of damage.
The spin attack dealt a decent amount of damage, but overall I think I still prefer Mothra for combat over Rodon.
I don't know, this is cool though. The gliding mechanic is sick.
Anyways, I was making my way back home when I ran into quite the interesting encounter.
Oh! I was trying to take a screenshot of this guy because he looks cool.
I made it back inside unharmed though, so I started sorting out my stuff before noticing my skullcrawler was gone. And looking at try blogs to try and locate where it was, I saw that Sheila died to Ghidorah, so F in the chat for her.
Like, I straight up don't understand. Where is my Skullcrawler? It's gotta be out in the canyon still.
But before going out there again, I started cooking new kaiju ingots for a fresh set of kaiju armor. According to the Dino Finder, there were also no otters at the moment.
Okay, we've got a set of kaiju armor back on now. Let's go get my Skullcrawler, and now we can tame a Ghidorah.
I flew back to the canyon, but there was no sign of my Skullcrawler anywhere. Looking at try blogs, I didn't even cryo it, so it had to be somewhere here.
Why is it gone? Like, where did it go? It's not in a cryo. It's not where I left it.
Knowing Ark, there was definitely a decent likelihood of it being under the map, so I checked just to make sure.
Yep, it was in the mesh. Okay.
Now that I had all my kaijus retrieved, I could actually start looking at taming a Ghidorah. I flew over to the big, vast desert where I got absolutely jumped by an entire nation of Ghidorahs just like last time.
Oh my.
All of a sudden, these destroyers were now taking over as well, and I was seeing less and less Ghidorahs. On day 81, I grabbed my 3 celestial stones from base, and I headed back out to continue scouting.
Oh, there's a Giga Heart. A Giga here. Can I kill this before this destroyer gets on me?
I went into strike again, and I did get the Giga Heart, so I was out of there before the destroyer could touch me. I then flew back to the desert where I saw 2 Ghidorahs. The first one was only a level 20 and the second a 55. But then I flew over to the Ghidorah flying above the murder snow, and that one was a level 130, so I politely introduced myself.
Oh, dude, come here.
I kited it away from the overly pressured low-level Ghidorah, and I soon realized I was missing something.
Oh, I don't have the stupid healers on me. Oh, they're definitely in a bag where I cryoed up my skullcrawler.
I flew back down to where my skullcrawler was chilling halfway into the mesh, and I used the Omni tool to pull all the kaiju remedies out of the bag.
Got it. Let's go right here. Skullcrawler. Hello, gorgeous. Wait. Yes.
I was a bit stuck though, so I had to cryo my skullcrawler. Also, I did not trust the trample hitboxes anymore, so I quickly whipped up some fiber and then made a sleeping bag just in case any accidents do happen. Speaking of accidents,
Let's throw out Mothra. Oh no!
God damn it, Gump! You're a goddamn genius!
No, I do that all the time.
at this point, cryo sickness was my #1 op. Anyways, I fed the Ghidorah and it tamed up almost instantly with terrible taming effectiveness.
Mighty Ghidorah has been tamed. Dude, this thing's so big, it's like too big for its own like hitbox for sound. Like, my character's too far away to hear it bite.
I tested the damage output next, and honestly, I was pretty disappointed. The bite was pretty weak, and so were the ground attacks.
Dude, my Mothra's definitely stronger.
That could only mean one thing. I'm gonna have to go out and tame a second Mothra, but that's a future problem for a very near future me. For now, I just flew back home.
Oh, you're mounted on its head, what? Oh, it just set me down, dude. Alright, time to tame Kipper V3.
I grabbed my Rodan as I didn't want to fly around on the skyscraper-sized Ghidorah. I cryoed her up and brought her inside before throwing Rodan out to go look for a Kipper. I landed by the big lake, and I looked through the Dino Finder menu again, but it still showed 0 otters. I flew back home on day 83. However, I also brought an uninvited guest over, which I only spotted once I was already off my Rodan.
Oh! Nope. Oh, are you kidding me? It killed me in my cave.
And unfortunately, I was not the only victim of this uncalled for attack.
Oh, it killed my Dodic. Oh, it like obliterated my base.
Yeah, all this time, I thought I was safe in my little cave, only to find out the hard way that I'm not.
Could Flappy, Rockefeller, Perry kill my Griffin too? Oh my, are we serious?
With my stuff retrieved, I once again had to cook kaiju ingots for another set of kaiju armor because mine got totally annihilated. Anyways, now that I'm dripped out again, I can get back to handling these kaijus. This Ghidorah attacking my home and wiping out most of my unpaid my friends that are dinosaurs. It's the final straw, he killed them, okay? I need to get back to the main mission, and that is defeating Super Godzilla. To spawn him in, I would need an artifact, and I also need an artifact to spawn in Destroy, hopefully a tamed one. Anyways, both of these artifacts that I do actually need can be found inside the castle cave, so I headed over there on my Griffin.
Okay, here's the cave.
I already knew my way around this place from last time that I was stranded on Ragnarok, so I flew straight over to the first artifact room and I grabbed the artifact of the Cunning. The artifact of the Immune was slightly harder to find, but I eventually got it on day 84.
Oh, gotcha.
A little bit of aimless flying around later, I also found the exit, so I flew back home.
Okay, so I need 500 crystal, 500 obsidian, and 1,000 stone. My Anki didn't die, did it? Rockefeller over here is dead.
Thankfully, I left Smurf in a cryopod inside my smithy, so he was alive.
I think I'm honestly gonna go farm with Rodan. I mean, it's got the best weight.
So I hopped on and I flew over to the Highlands Island just up north.
Oh, there's so much metal farm over here, dude. Could have been going out here the whole time.
Anyways, I was here for the crystals, so I waited around for the cryo sickness to wear off before throwing Smurf out and mining it all up.
That should be enough crystal. Now we gotta go get obsidian.
And that I could find plenty of near the volcano, but I first had to deal with a destroyer that was actively occupying said space.
Oh, I did not just aggro a Ghidorah. Just leave, dude. Alright, I'm not gonna be able to get obsidian in the volcano.
The only place that I know I could find loads more of obsidian was at the Redwood Mountains just by the desert, so I flew over there next.
That Ghidorah is still following me.
And it did not feel like giving up either, so I had to fight it over the obsidian.
Oh, he does so much more damage now. He got buffed. Screw you, dude. I'll just go get my Ghidorah.
I flew back to my base and slowly walked my way over to the cauldron with literal tons of crystal in my pocket. I grabbed my Ghidorah, threw her out, and then grappled to her to mount her. Since these three-headed dragons were buffed now, I decided to get rid of the high-level destroyer that was terrorizing the Highlands for some time now.
Yeah, this is a lot better. I'm hitting for like 100,000 damage a bite.
My next target, the Ghidorah in the redwoods, of course.
Why do they hit harder than me?
Even though the wild Ghidorah dealt more damage, I was just simply better, so I sent her back to the lobby and got a ton of levels in return. But more importantly, I could get the smacking up obsidian in peace. 500 obsidian later, I flew back to base. Now, the only thing standing between me and the destroyer was 1,000 stone, and Rockefeller's dead body had some on him, so I grabbed that and farmed up the rest on day 86.
Alright, this should be everything for the Destroyer Summoner. It should spawn me in one decent Destroyer that's tamed to me. Not gonna lie, still kind of nervous for how it's gonna go. We'll see.
Back at base, I crafted the summoner and I flew outside to use it.
Yeah, use this. Hello? It didn't spawn a Destroyer.
Yeah, that was a bit anticlimactic, but at the very least, I can now see that there are 4 otters on the map, so I grabbed my Ghidorah and flew over to them. I chopped up a saber-tooth salmon, which made his cousins really upset, but it's Kipper's preferred food of choice, so there's no other way about it.
You want more? It's a coelacanth. That's nice. Kipper V3. Okay, well, we've got Kipper V3. That makes me at least somewhat happy. They're getting scammed out of my Destroyer.
After bringing Kipper back home, I repaired my flak helmet and I put it on his little head to keep him somewhat safe.
I tested the Super Godzilla summoner in another world, and it does work. It does actually summon Super Godzilla like it's supposed to. So yeah, man, I basically completed the challenge, except, you know, fighting Super Godzilla. So for the next 13 days, I think that's how many. I'm just gonna go around taming more kaijus, dude. The more kaijus, the better, okay? Super Godzilla is very strong. He's got millions of health.
And I'm not just talking about tier 3 Ghidorahs. I would also try and tame tier 1 Famuto, Skullcrawler, and maybe the whole gang as well, as they're all pretty strong in their respective ways. But before I go out on a mass taming spree, I want to farm up for the actual Super Godzilla summoner. It just needs the same 3 exact resources, being crystal, obsidian, and stone, just like the destroyer summoner. Except this one does need the artifact of the immune, which I already have. So that being said, I headed right back outside with Bird, and I first smacked up 1,000 stone. Next up, I hopped on Ghidorah and I first clapped another low level wild Ghidorah before flying out to the volcano to farm the obsidian.
Oh, I'm landing on an Arthro. I don't know that I have a weapon to kill this. Except, okay. Are you serious? You did not just break my kaiju. Of course it's a 150, dude. Screw you.
Anyways, after getting the obsidian, I flew over to the ice cave for crystal.
Crazy, dude. I am butt booty naked with a fur cap and an otter on my shoulders. That's how I'm not freezing.
With all the resources that I needed farmed up, I headed back to base just as it turned night. And on day 89, I brought all the resources into the cauldron to craft the Super Godzilla summoner.
Got everything for the Super Godzilla Emerald spawner, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna make more kaiju armor because mine's broken from the Arthro. But now I can purely focus on just mass taming kaijus for about these last 10 days. Probably Famuto, stuff that tames off just normal kaiju meat. I don't feel like farming barrels of nectar or more, what are these called? Celestial stones. I just don't feel like doing that.
So on day 90, I took off on Ghidorah and I flew straight over to the canyons in hopes of finding a ton of good Famutos.
It's a bad one. I don't just kill.
These Rodons also wanted the smoke, so I packed them both up before stumbling upon this beauty.
Oh, 145 Famuto down there.
Once I finally found a landing spot for my Boeing 747, the Famuto decided to run straight at me.
What am I doing? I should just throw my Skullcrawler out. I'm not gonna waste time trying to tame this.
I didn't even have the kaiju remedies on me to heal, so I had to fly back to base real quick. And I wanted to make parachutes as well, since falling off the kaijus and taking damage every time was starting to hurt my kneecaps.
See Piper and Thatch? Holy poor person, dude.
After crafting those and grabbing the kaiju food, I was right back off to the canyons. I first killed a Rodon that was flying too close to the Famuto, and then I swapped over to the Skullcrawler to actually knock it out.
Okay, are there any others in here that I can just kill for the kaiju meat?
There were a couple of stuck Rodons in the low level Famuto, so I clapped that.
Goodbye, bro. Back to the lobby. Oh, encumbered.
And since I was taming something in the canyons, there were countless new kaiju spawning in, and I had to deal with them before I could feed the sleeping Famuto.
I can knock this guy out easy. Literally just knocking things out instead of killing them. And I'm stuck in it, so I gotta kill it. What is happening? The canyons are just absurd, dude.
It was mainly this level 130 Rodon that was causing the trouble. It had a ton of torpor as well, so I couldn't knock it out as quick. I waited a bit for it to lose aggro on me, and then quickly ran up to the 145 Famuto and tried feeding it.
What? My stupid heavy foot skill just knocked it away. I parked the skull crawler next to it and finally got to feed it and tame it. Oh, it actually got 100% taming effectiveness. That's crazy. That was a lot of work for one Famuto. Yeah, the canyons are not optimal for taming whatsoever. Luckily, I found a level 100 skull crawler at the Viking Bay jungle. I just had to get rid of one destroyer so I could knock it out and tame it in peace. I parked Ghidorah at the top of the little hill and hopped off thinking I'd stay on her head, but instead I was sent flying downward. Hold up, this is my chance to shoot it. I slowly parachuted onto the sleeping giant and then tamed it. The next culprit I spotted was a level 145 Mega Hexonyx. 5, might as well. I'm taming anything and everything. Holy, I'm on its cheeks. On day 92, I headed back home to drop off these 3 new kaijus. I also needed to make more cryopods for more, but I didn't have oil anymore. I did at least cook up a few extra kaiju remedies before going out to do some lawn mowing for Trank Dart. The lawn mowing continued into day 93. I made 5 more darts and I headed back out to continue the mass taming spree after that. I never even got more cryopods. Oh, because I needed oil. That's what I needed to get. But there was a level 135 Mega Hexonyx right below me, so I knocked it out and tamed that first. Another kaiju for my army. I flew over to the ice cave where I packed up a couple of mid Mega Hexonyxes. I then headed inside to look for oil. The oil rocks aren't here. What? Man, there's not even any oil here. It's day 94 and I'm still running around looking for oil like a poor person. My American ancestors would be very disappointed in me. So I couldn't find a drop of oil in there, meaning I had to go and dig up the dead beach bassies in the highlands instead. Man, I am poor, dude. I only have enough for 2 more cryopods. Tough times. I returned back to base and I actually made a whopping 4 cryos in total so I could get back on my taming duties. Ooh, skull crawlers. Oh, 145? 20. Okay. And you're asleep. I also just now discovered how to use Ghidorah's special attack, so I flew out to find a weak test subject. Oh, it got too close. I can't even hit it. I tried again on a different Famuto and I hit it a little bit, but it got up close and personal again, so the attack was pretty much pointless. The wing flap attack on the other hand was pretty good. Oh, that attack does the damage. Armed with this knowledge, I flew around the map on day 97, completely obliterating any weak kaijus that I found. These forests are they've just been flattened by kaijus. I'm also contributing to the deforestation. It's kind of satisfying. Stop, Destroyer, I'm doing something. Once I was done with my tomfoolery, I got back to looking for good kaijus, and I actually came across a whole family of Famutos. Oh, 145 Famuto, perfect. Oh, there's a baby one. So I just clapped a few family members of the 145 Famuto, and then I made it love me by forcibly knocking it unconscious and feeding it the remains of its family, as you do in Ark as normal. At the very least, I was kind enough to spare the other 2 grown Famutos by just knocking them out. Oh, I'm just wasting my grapples here, okay. Just throw this guy out. Not locked in. I guess let me kill these with this so it gets some XP. Okay, I lied. The other 2 Famutos had to go as well. A lot more in the melee for it. Might as well kill this one too. Oh, who are you?
I'm in danger.
After that newcomer joined the fight, I kind of just gave up and left. Alright, it's day 99. I've tamed a decent amount more kaijus to add to the army. I'm gonna go back to base, and then I think we're gonna fight Super Godzilla just out in the highlands. So I'm gonna throw out my kaiju army, get them all in neutral, level them up all into melee, get them all set up and ready to go. But yeah, dude, we're gonna take down Super Godzilla and establish Kipper king of the Ark, as he should be. When I got back home, I started cooking up more kaiju ingots for a new set of armor since mine is taking quite a beating by now. Okay, a new set of kaiju armor has been made. Alright man, let's go deploy my kaijus out here and then wait for day 100 to roll around, which is going to roll around very soon. Hold up, can I make parachutes? My base is still looking pretty rough after yeah, it got blown up. But whatever, it's showing battle scars. Anyways, I made the parachutes and I ran outside to start deploying my army of kaijus and leveling them up in melee. As usual, the Famutos were not locked in and needed a bit of assistance. Also, the hitboxes were pretty janky, so I could stack kaijus on top of one another, and by the end, it all looked like a huge mess. Okay, I'm definitely riding Ghidorah with some neutral on everyone. This looks crazy. Okay, I've got everyone deployed. We've come super far in this 100 days. Look at this army of kaijus I have. But now it's time to defeat the Tyrant King, Super Godzilla, and establish Kipper as King of the Ark. So the way this spawner works, it's King Godzilla is gonna jump into pretty much wherever you are. So I can be strategic I'm gonna summon him right in the middle of my guys. There he is. Oh my.
Just like that, the final showdown had begun. Super Godzilla started to attack my team straight away, and a few of them noticed and fought back, however some of them were kinda slow.
Why aren't these guys fighting? I can't even see him, dude. Oh my.
My Rodon causing explosions every second made it hard to see, but once it cleared out, I could see that Super Godzilla had already lost 2 million health, and more of my kaijus were starting to join in on the fight. I also helped out on Ghidorah by flapping my wings and biting it, dealing tons of damage.
Oh, he's below half health. We can do this. We can do this.
Since the Super Godzilla was distracted by my other kaijus, I could actually use Ghidorah's breath attack and actually do some damage with it.
Oh yeah, that's some nice damage on him. Rodon is blowing him to hell. Come on, he's got to be almost dead. Oh, he's almost dead. Yes, he's dead. We did it, dude.
Just like that, the almighty Super Godzilla was gone for good, defeated and reduced to atoms.
We really didn't take that much of a beating. Oh, Rodon did. Never mind. We did it, boys. Kipper. Hold up, let me take your helmet off. We defeated Super Godzilla, Kipper. What do you have to say? Oh, yeah. Oh, Kipper died. No! Are you serious?
Yes, Kipper, with Super Godzilla banished to the Shadow Realm, we no longer have to fear losing you to an exploding Rodon, or getting squashed by another sleeping Rodon.
If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much. The support is insane. Thank you guys. And yeah, if you made it this far in the video, comment all hail King Kipper, as he is now the king of the arc and all the kaijus, and balance has been restored as it always should have been. Thank you for watching.
Perry, I got this. Once again, don't forget to download War Thunder today using my link in the description or pinned comment. You'll receive a huge bonus pack featuring the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver, and 7 days of premium account.